This is the I Know podcast where we're all about healthy debate, honest conversation, and talking beer junk. Information, knowledge, observation. This is the I Know podcast. I-N-O, information, knowledge, observation. Also, I know nothing. We got Malik Mosey. We got Kofi. We have very special guests. Let me see, how do I preface this? Okay, we had a conversation, right? I'm Marcus, by the way. I never say my name, but anyway.
But everybody know you.
Like the episode, if you do like it, and subscribe to the channel.
Yes.
Look at us trying to be professional.
Yeah, you know. We try to cover all areas of conversation, right? And we would kind of have a conversation in the group chat about, like, you know, people that may not be in our circle per se. And we wanted to get somebody that's in the sex industry on, that was preferably somebody that, you know, is a Nelson Street worker. But I know none of them, and none of us do. So I looked up this person online because I heard a lot about this guest, and I said, you know what? Let me ask him. Maybe he knows a woman that will be willing to come on. But then when I did message him and we spoke on the phone, I realized he should be a guest on the podcast too. So I would say this is your friendly neighborhood pimp, Mr. Charlie Spice. What are you saying, sir? How are you doing?
First of all, I want to thank you very much, Marcus.
Yes.
Kofi, for inviting me onto your show. And I look forward to having a very interesting conversation.
The thing is, you're very layered, right? And I realized that from the first, 5 minutes of the conversation that we had, right? And I would like to start from the very, very beginning. And then we're going to probably get to if you really are a pimp, right? That's gonna be somewhere in this conversation. But first of all, I want you to, how would you describe Charlie Spice?
You know, that word pimp is such it resonates with me in different ways, because the concept of a pimp, as far as society is concerned, is what they've seen on television. This black guy, mostly,
right,
from New York or Miami, who has
a fur
5
coat,
or 6 a fur coat, a chain, rings, and so forth, and he's beating and drugging women, forcing them to have sex for money,
right,
taking all their money, of course, or most of the money, and what they keep is what they need to buy the drugs that he's supplying.
Right.
And that's the stereotypical view of a pimp. So that being the case, I would have to say I am not. But society will always label me as a pimp. Based on society's view, I have to say yes. However, I operate at a much higher level than that. I have ladies who have already decided that, consciously, that they prefer to be in the sex industry because they can make a hell of a lot more money than if they were to stay in the mainstream and work in an office. They consciously decide to do this, and they come to me to assist them in finding clients at a much higher level to make more money. And we have, it's a very professional relationship, and unlike what people understand about my industry, it involves the same degree of marketing, business, and other techniques for all other businesses.
Do you ever get high off your own supply?
There was a time in the industry, particularly, we're going back many years, where it was, because it was so difficult for me to have relationships in the mainstream, I tended to have sexual relationships with girls from the industry, because it was just much easier.
Like for a pay, or as their boss, you just used to get them?
In my profession, women who are interviewed by me, well, not so much these days, in the past, an interview process was me going to a hotel in Ukraine or Czech Republic. The agent would bring 40, 50 women to be interviewed by me for the purpose of taking them to London or Barbados or whatever to work under my umbrella. And within 2 minutes of the introduction, all the women are naked, because they are showing me that they have what it takes to work as a Charlie Spice angel. And any one of those ladies would happily jump into bed with me right there and then to prove to me that they can do the business.
But 40 to 50, so let me say, okay, not all of them sleep with you, but you're saying that every time you have an interview, You're sleeping with
No.
20 women?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying
okay.
any one of them would gladly jump into bed with me.
Okay, all right.
Oh, so you
And-
don't do it as like a
and-
test
right.
run?
And-
You have
Yeah, I
sex
thought
at
that was-
first, like,
no,
oh,
I don't
okay.
need to do that.
Back
No.
shots 8 out of 10. Back shots 8 out of 10. Missionary.
And that is
7.
what
Needs work.
differentiates me from being the stereotypical pimp, because the pimp, you know, they have the concept you have to sleep with me in order to work for me.
So,
you know?
so the girls that work under you are called the Spice Girls or Charlie's Angels?
No,
Which
I
one?
call them Charlie Spice Angels.
Man, that's bad
I
marketing,
did not-
Charlie.
I did not-
I like my Charlie.
I did,
Angels.
I think that's fair.
I like
Spice
my
Girls.
Spice Girls.
Spice Girls.
I did
Spice
reach
Girls,
out.
Angels,
I
that's
did
fine.
reach out to the Spice Girls years ago, but none of them were interested in joining my network.
Another gig.
Reach out.
Not even
Reach out.
Not even Crazy Spice. Crazy
Spice.
Spice will do something though. Crazy Spice was
You mean
wild.
reach out to you? Every university, you mean reach out to use a name or reach out to get them on your team?
To get them to work with
Oh,
me in the adult
so-
entertainment industry. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, okay. Well,
You said that the girls that come to you are girls that consciously come to you from working in the mainstream. So do you find that a lot of the girls aren't like regular prostitutes that want to come up? Or you think that these are girls that have like businesses as accountants or retail or what's not?
That has many levels in terms of an answer. Most of the girls who come to me are already working in the sex industry.
Right.
They're already high class escorts. They're top tier. They're making
So they're already
loads of
top
money.
tier.
That's right. And they come to me to increase the number of clients that they come into contact with. Of course, to increase the revenue. And needless to say, some of them come to me in the hope that they could take away some of my clients as well. But most of them are already in the industry. There are many women who work with me presently who have mainstream professions as bank managers or secretaries or sales executives.
really?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So they on the
And-
side they do that? They
On the
work
side,
you on
Yeah,
the
more
side?
like as
Absolutely.
prostitutes.
Absolutely. And here in Barbados, I've seen in the last 15 years, as a result of the recessive times we have experienced economically, I've seen a lot of women move into the sex industry who themselves swore they would never get involved in the sex. They would never become a prostitute.
So how would you say social media impacted that as well? Does that impact it in any way?
Social media gave the world the opportunity to see inside the sex industry, and as far as those ladies are concerned, they got to understand the kind of monies that some women are actually making. Some of these women make in excess of $500,000 a year. Some of these women have the opportunity to meet some of the world's wealthiest men and end up in full-on relationships.
But these are rich women though. Are these like the top tier or is it like even?
All women have the same opportunity.
think that?
A woman today. Oh yes. A woman could work on Bush Hill in Barbados, which is the bottom of the barrel in terms of the sex trade.
Jeez,
I-
good but show shaming though.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
you're right.
I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Let me take that back. In terms of the economic structure,
Okay.
the financial structure of the tourism
Okay.
industry,
Right.
Bush Hill is the bottom.
Right.
Okay. There is every opportunity for a young lady who is on Bush Hill today, if she is attractive enough and has an amazing figure, she could end up working as a high-level escort in London or New York a week later just by meeting someone like me. And there are many people like me, by the way. I'm not the only one. And she could go from making 60 Barbados dollars for a job to $500 for 1 hour in London.
I gotta admit though, it's hard for me to imagine that in a place like Barbados that's so small, that we have like bank managers and all the people that you just named that are doing it and we don't know about it. At least one person, like through the grapevine maybe.
Just hear things.
Barbados is the most hypocritical country I have ever visited. Okay? And there are so many people in Barbados who are either service providers in the industry, and some of them, I refer to them as opportunistic sex workers, some of them, where they're working in the bank in the day or the office, and at night they go to certain bars on the West Coast or the South Coast. And given the opportunity, having met a very wealthy man who made an offer that they find hard to refuse, would end up at a hotel making $2,000 or $3,000. And they would swear it never happened.
But you know, then some
You cannot call them a prostitute.
Right,
How
right,
dare
right,
you
right,
call them
yeah.
a prostitute?
But the thing is, right? I think the line can be so blurred when it comes to if a woman, for example, sees a man and like gets in this relationship totally based off of finances, but it is framed and labeled as a relationship. But really and truly, it's like a long-term escort kind of relationship
really
between
is.
you and her.
Like
and I
a
know,
post-paid escort.
and in that way, I know a lot of girls like that. But
Yeah.
I can't call them an escort. I can't call them a prostitute.
I
But,
have
you know.
made statements throughout my tenure that people were very upset with me for making. One of the things that I subscribe to, and that is most women, if not every woman, has the propensity to be a prostitute. Many women fantasize about being a high-class prostitute. Many women, on occasion, have and will continue to prostitute themselves at various levels. As a matter of fact, any woman who is attractive with a great figure and she does not leverage her looks to make money, I think she's a bloody idiot. Okay? So when women point fingers at those who are obviously in the sex industry, I can only smile. Because I've seen many women who were the haters and the persons pointing the fingers turn and ask me years later, Charlie, I would like to work for you. And even I get a little shocked when some of these women come to me. And of course, I'm sworn to secrecy, although discretion is the core of my existence.
Right.
I have to swear above and beyond my reputation of being very discreet to appease them.
Right.
But name some people though.
I'm listening to what you're saying. Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Let me respond to Kofi. One of the reasons I would not mention a name is because they might be related to you.
That's funny.
No, I'm not. No, I'm saying that respectfully, because
funny.
every a prostitute is someone's mother, someone's aunt, someone's daughter, someone's cousin.
I wasn't even thinking about the girls. I was thinking like, oh, famous men.
Famous men. Oh.
Like Nanny Jones.
and I said that respectfully,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I have seen things that would shock other people in terms of who really is a prostitute
Right. But
and who really is a client.
But the point that I was gonna make though, a lot of women I've heard that conversation just as a joke that are in like the corporate world and stuff. They would be like, things would be so much easier for me if I didn't have
See when you
morals.
said the fantasy thing?
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%.
I
know
have
so many women that think about
that. Just joke, and it's a joke. And they would just say, if I didn't have so many morals, I would be doing all the things that you're
I
saying.
think it's a joke until the opportunity arises.
Yes.
It's a joke until a man said, look, this is 10 grand. What are you going to do?
Let me share something that Winston Churchill said many years ago. He was talking to a lady and he said,
Hoes be hoeing. Nah.
Winston Churchill said to a lady, would you sleep with me for 50 quid? She said, do you think I'm a whore? He said, would you sleep with me for 100 quid? You must be kidding. Would you sleep with me for 500 quid? And then she started to negotiate. So then he said, so now we've established you are a whore. It's just a matter of the price. It's just a matter of price.
And then $1942 a pound.
So everyone has a price. And when you appeal to someone's greed, the complexity of the situation changes. And I wouldn't put it past any woman or man to be a sex worker, given the opportunity.
You good?
Okay. Marcus is a serious man.
We often make the mistake in thinking that only women are sex workers. There are male sex workers, and there are sex workers who are from the LGBTQ community.
But you were a male sex worker.
When I was much younger and I had a fit body and I could have sex all night long, I wouldn't take the chance now, because if a woman gets a good 15 minutes out of me, I think she's lucky now. At my age, I dare not try to charge for it.
It's funny.
But it's the best 15 minutes you've ever had. The best 15 minutes.
Very nice, sir.
Or you mentioned that a lot of these sex workers are from the LGBTQ community, and I'm know this from reading. I don't know this from talking to any male sex worker.
Yeah.
But a lot of the male work is men basically being gay for pay. Were you?
Oh no, that's a fair question.
Right,
That's
yeah,
a fair
I'm
question.
genuinely
That's a
asking.
fair question. That's a fair question. The answer is no.
Okay.
When I went to Los Angeles many years ago, and
You were like how old?
and I was 21,
Okay. Oh.
and
Oh, you know Warren.
and times were very difficult. I met a blonde lady by a place called the Sherman Oaks Galleria, and she stopped by the traffic lights. She looked at me and smiled, and beautiful blonde. Anyway, she drove on. I turned into a cafe. 15 minutes later, that same lady waltzed into the cafe and approached me. Now, it was quite obvious to me that she fancied me as a man, but not knowing what to say to me, the first thing she said was, you know, you would make a fortune as a male escort, because she owned an agency. But her agency was female escorts providing service to male or female clients. Anyway, that's how I got started in the industry, and I became a male escort for her agency. And to answer your question, I only provided service to female clients, and the women were somewhat older. I was in my early 20s. They were around 35 to 45.
So starting out when you were at Comair, how did you even like think? Did you ever consider doing it when you were there in your early ages?
When I was at Comair, I had, of course, the gift of the gab when it came to interaction with young ladies, also at Comair and elsewhere. But I never thought or never knew that there was something called a sex industry. I knew that there was a place, Nelson Street, Bay Street, and I'm not sure if there was Bush Hill at that time. I'm not sure. But Nelson Street, I knew about Nelson Street, and that was the extent of my knowledge, you know, about the sex trade. And of course, I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would become a male escort. You know, I had lots of girlfriends. I was young, good looking, and you know, I wasn't shy at all. So, and I think that experience in Barbados, being so successful with interpersonal relationships with women, I think that helped me a lot when I got into the industry.
And also they said the stigma is that Comair men are whores.
Yes, of course.
You're not helping the case, you know.
You're really
No,
not.
I'm.
You're really not.
You're not.
Keep flying off like me.
But okay,
Up and on. Up and on.
up and on. I want to know. So when you were 21 and you were offered that, can you kind of go through like some of the experiences you would have went through at that point in time?
Yeah, it was a bit scary for me, because it's one thing to be successful flirting and chatting up young ladies and ladies that you choose to chat with because they're very attractive to you, to making the transition to having sex professionally. It's a different thing altogether. As a matter of fact, you run the risk of not being able to perform, because suddenly you've got the pressure of you're being paid. You have to deliver. You not only sexually, but in terms of conversation, in terms of giving her the boyfriend experience. Because I was being paid around $100 US, 150 for the first hour and 100 for each additional hour, something like that. But that was back in the 80s. No, Yeah, back in the 80s,
that's
yes.
a good amount.
That's stupid. Man.
That was a lot of money. So I would make about 500, sometimes $1,000 in one evening, including tips.
How many evenings would you work? Like a month?
3, 4. Sometimes I would be asked to go on a cruise for a couple of weeks or a week, and I'm on the clock.
Just as
So-
a companion for these women?
Companion, and of course you've got to perform.
Well, yeah, including
Yeah,
performance
that's
time.
But some of the experiences were that I can vividly remember. One that stands out right now is this lady. She was full figured. She was quite a large lady.
She's fat.
And it's not okay. All right, okay.
She had girth.
And I'm not attracted to women that are big, and I've never been, and today I still am not. And but all she wanted me to do was to put feathers, multicolored feathers, on her body and blow them off. And that was all I had to do.
For 150 US? Let me send my CV, boy.
But I am in the wrong
And
industry.
she would literally get off on that.
Nah, I got.
All right, wait. No, you
Let me
mentioned
out,
the
let me
story.
out,
Like,
let
you
me
have,
out.
that's like the peak of interesting fetishes.
I've never heard of that fetish before. Even now, I still haven't heard about it. That was the only time I've heard of
She
of
wanted
that.
to feel
But
like a chicken.
multicolored feathers.
She wanted to pick
Well,
up me.
she would buy the feathers, of course, and they were different colors, and I would just have to sprinkle them on her body and
And blow them
off. But of course, I had to perform as well. It was not just put them on and blow them off, you know.
So it's a during the performance?
You've got to talk dirty to her as well, and
Oh, talk
Oh, it's a whole.
you know,
it's
a whole
thing,
performance.
yeah.
It's not just
Yeah, fucking pick up.
I want to know what is your worst sexual experience?
Worse. Actually, I can't say my worst experience. Are you speaking about in the industry or me personally? My worst experience.
No, as in you not being able to perform. Well, I have some of this remarks.
That's me and
When I
Jack.
was young,
Yeah,
when I
you
was
were-
younger, I never had a problem of, the inability to perform because I'm young, I'm viral, and
Viral?
Oh well,
Sorry. What a front
You got words. You gotta use the words.
Yeah.
yeah, okay, I got, yeah, all right.
I apologize.
I was gonna let him slide.
But right,
Now,
you-
I've
you-
never had an experience where I was unable to perform because it was difficult because, like I said, when you're paid to do it and you're doing it with women who are not your ideal soulmate, it is much harder. But if you're going to survive in the industry, you have to acquire a consciousness very early on to do the job and to do it well, because you have to go into character. You've got to look in the mirror and talk to yourself, and you've got to perform, and you do it. You do
That's
it.
contrary to a lot of popular belief about men, though, because I mean, the thought is that a man would do it.
Anything with a heartbeat.
orifice.
Yeah.
So,
Yes,
this is
but-
interesting to hear.
Yeah, it's
But
very
when
true.
you're doing it professionally, you're paid to do it,
Right.
and you're not doing it with people that you're attracted to sexually necessarily.
Right.
Albeit some of the women that I've met back then were quite attractive, very successful, very high-powered women, and great figure.
I want to ask you a two-part question. Do you use social media currently? Like nowadays?
Yes.
Do you think that, would you say that the male sex industry for straight women is dying?
For straight men.
I honestly I find it weird that a woman, no matter what age, would have difficulty finding a man that could perform at any age, that she would have to go to an agency. But I feel like we bought the place like flies.
Yes, I mean, men in Barbados would have sex with a tourist lady for a rum and coke.
Right, so like that's
So,
okay. Well,
but there are women out there who don't necessarily want that bit of rough. They want a more refined guy. They want a guy that can take them out and hold their own socially, who can dress the part. And also that there's a bit of control involved. A woman who's wealthy, sometimes they prefer to pay and get what they want and have that control. So there are many reasons why, they will not
very
go to that
but I
guy
still
on the
feel if you
beach.
go on the West Coast, you can find a man that went Columbia Emeralds twice and just looking for a white woman to maintain his lifestyle. Like, I'm very certain a lot of these men just bought the place looking for
I
sugar
think
mommy.
in Barbados, this is the reason why I never got into the market of providing men for women, particularly in Barbados, because sex is rampant on our sex tourism is at an all-time high. So it makes it more difficult, but there are those women who would come here and they don't want to be seen with a guy who's already shagged 500 women in the last year.
She wants to know best.
So she wants,
See how we're calling names?
You know, you ask for royalty, Jack.
He wants to say something. Remember, those are his words.
There was a point that Kofi made earlier. It was a joke, but I do want to know when you were a sex worker, you wasn't like afraid of like AIDS.
we're talking I left Combermere in. Am I allowed to mention Combermere on here?
But maybe.
79, and I was in the States by early 80s. We're talking back in the 80s.
But that's when AIDS was.
Yeah, that was
So-
when AIDS was AIDS.
But no, the stigma hadn't really started.
Really?
No, it hadn't really started. And also, in the industry, women and men who are sex workers, they tend to protect themselves better
Right.
than some schoolgirl at
I
university.
actually heard that a lot.
I got
Who got drunk
I
and cannot even remember who they slept with last night.
I gotta admit, Charlie, I don't believe that.
I believe it.
Here's
believe it too.
here's
No.
my thing. Here's my thing, right?
Yeah.
Maybe on a high level,
Yeah.
but I don't see the women down here, the Bush Hill women and thing, getting tested every week and
They- I don't know if they do, maybe not, but we're talking about people protecting themselves, using condoms while they perform sex commercially. We in the industry are more careful in terms of protecting ourselves using condoms than women and men who are not in the sex industry. And that is a fact.
I want to show you something, right, Marcus? I spoke to a girl. She works in the industry or whatnot. And remember, we was talking about bringing on women, right? Right. I spoke to one, and she was like, at times someone tried to kiss her, and she refused to do business with him. And I was like, that makes very little sense to me. The man just probably want an experience. She was like, no, because if he could kiss me, what else is he doing? Me as a whore. And I was like, whoa, that is.
Wait.
She said, if he could kiss me as a prostitute, what else is he doing? Like, she doesn't know where else his lips has been. Which is so interesting for me that she would
that's
degrade
twisted.
herself
That is so
to that
twisted.
level. But still, like, she's saying, like, I get her logic. I get her logic 100%.
But I mean, even if you go to a doctor will say, first of all, don't have multiple partners. So if having multiple partners is part of your profession, wouldn't that increase the chances that something can happen, even
Yes.
though you are safe?
Yes, you're right. Sex workers are more at risk of contracting sexually transmitted infections, of course, and for that reason, we tend to be we take more precaution. At the lower levels, and even at the higher levels, and I'm speaking financially,
Yeah, right.
men, the clients would provoke that situation. They would say, would you have unprotected sex if I give you an extra $200
Right,
or
right.
$500? It is usually that scenario as opposed to the woman saying, well, I'm a prostitute, so what? Let's not have, No, it's usually the client
I agree.
asking.
But what would her response be? If it's 100% no all the time, I wouldn't believe that. I believe that if somebody says, if there's a price
They
on you to have
do.
sex,
Many women
right.
do accept the offer,
Right.
and this is the problem. Okay, so but it's not the same for everyone. But that is a problem in the industry where people are having unprotected sex, and there is the health crisis, concern.
You familiar with a comedian named To Hear More?
No.
To Hear More, he's you know about All That Digital now? Right, he's big on All That Digital, but on that podcast he was on, he mentioned that he enjoys himself with prostitutes or whatever, and he's never used a condom. He says he always asks to put up front more money to not use a condom, and he would just get tested afterward and what's not, take prep.
Yeah, but other than PrEP, like herpes and...
I mean, I get what you mean. I'm not saying. I'm
That
not
is
saying
so
this is
wild.
a
That
this
is
is an
so
example.
wild.
to follow.
Right, yeah, I
I'm
get
saying,
you, I get you, right.
Charlie mentioned that it's always a client that comes with those sort of propositions. So I just show you an example of how
It
this works,
really,
I think.
it really upsets me when people point the finger at sex workers as the cause of the illnesses being spread around. Gets me so upset because very often it's the man or the woman from the mainstream who's coming into our industry and encouraging unprotected sex. But we get fingered for it. So it's because, she's a prostitute,
I think the verbiage.
Yeah, we need to work on this verbiage. Right.
Forgive the
Lord.
pun.
Yeah.
Viewers, forgive the pun.
That was great. That was perfect. That was funny.
Okay, yeah, that does make sense to me. So, what you're describing though, is that a different kind of way of doing things in a different culture to the Bush Hill group and the Nelson Street group? Do they
No.
practice the same kind of safety
That-
from the people that you've met?
The
Well,
the
that
problem that we're
part-
talking about now exists across the board globally. It's
Okay.
not just a
No,
Bush Hill or a Nelson Street issue.
Plus, I don't think that man going to Nelson Street without condoms.
Shit.
You might be surprised.
I don't know. But I'm assuming now. I just don't feel like that's a place to.
Here's one of my things. One of the reasons why we couldn't get a woman on here is every single person I've asked that knows a stripper or prostitute said they're not intelligent enough to carry on a conversation for more than 10 minutes about their experiences. Anybody that's not that intelligent to do that, I don't see how they'd be that intelligent to always be protecting themselves.
Nah, I
just
disagree.
don't.
Because
No,
the ignorance,
no, I disagree.
the ignorance behind STDs and STIs will make you want to protect yourself more.
Yes, women in the sex industry are they're very intelligent socially and streetwise. They're very street smart. You're hardly going to find a prostitute who's not street smart.
Right.
She may not be comfortable in front of a camera talking about her business because at the end of the day, there's such a huge stigma on people who are in the sex industry, and also to why would she want to come and re-indict herself as a sex worker?
But no, not her not coming on because she wants to remain anonymous. It was just because people said she ain't smart enough for you to ask you questions and she give you proper answers then. So I mean, if somebody is like that, then I don't think that they'll be thinking 2 steps ahead in terms of protecting themselves. That's just me.
Okay, if you were asking sex workers in the United Kingdom or United States
Right.
to come onto your show,
Yeah.
oh, you'll be flooded with requests
Right,
from
right.
people wanting to join
Yeah.
because it's a great opportunity for them to promote themselves and to sort of demystify the industry.
Right. Yeah.
That's interesting, to be honest. That you think that the from US and UK would see that as a marketing opportunity. I mean, like, prostitution isn't exactly legal in most states. I don't know about UK, but I know for sure most states is not legal. So, why would they? What's the word? Out themselves? That's not the word. Isn't outing themselves, but like, why would they market themselves when it's something they're doing illegally?
It's a different culture altogether. Totally different culture. Here we come from our culture is very hypocritical as well. There are many women out there who you pass them on the street, they're prostitutes, but they would not want to come into a public forum and say, yes, I am. But go on the street and everybody can drive by and see them. This is the same thing where a lot of women, you cannot call them a prostitute, but you can see them on the West Coast bars and the South Coast bars, and if you just watch them for 15 minutes, the way they operate, you can tell. You can tell they're looking to meet some rich guy.
Yeah.
But you cannot call them a prostitute. You have done them they would take you
It's
to
the same
court.
thing, but like, one can make $600 a night, and the other can make $660 every session.
Yes, exactly. So it does add up over time. But she decorates it as a relationship or sign up for her own
B is like
self-esteem.
I remember a time I was in let me just label it a South Coast bar. And there's this girl that I used to work there. Let me call the place. I used to work there, right? And every week she was sitting down at the bar at the same place. And every was another man every single week. This one girl.
Interesting.
I speak about it in chat, to be honest. I don't remember this.
We had another situation too, on the set of a movie that we were involved in. Both of us.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I didn't know about that.
I don't think.
I didn't know about
Because you weren't paying attention.
that. Right.
But
I'm an idiot. I don't pay attention to
But
anything.
this I setting this up for something else though, because it was a foreign accent. The ladies were foreign, obviously foreign,
Right.
and they were trying to get they were trying to solicit. So which brings me to this: how many people do you get from around your region wanted to join your organization? So it's not just Barbadian women, or
I receive about 150 requests a week from all over the world from women who want to get involved in the adult industry. But not only those wanting to work with me personally, but also those who want to get into the industry, because I'm part of an organization called the Adult Industry Association. So I'm inundated with all kinds of proposals, and complaints as well. But I operate differently now to the way I did many years ago. I used to recruit ladies who wanted to get into the industry or were already in the industry, and I would take them with me to London or Moscow, or bring them to Barbados, or go to St. Lucia, depending on where the clients were moving, depending on various events, golfing events and yachting events and so on. And I would work with those ladies, say in Barbados, for a month, and I would provide accommodation, and I don't do that anymore. I'm more on the side of the clients. I have about 48 very wealthy clients from all over the world, and whenever they travel to a destination for business or for holiday, and they want to be entertained, they would contact me and ahead of time, and I would organize. So it doesn't matter. It could be Hong Kong, Singapore, Dubai. Doesn't matter. I can get online and I can recruit someone for that particular booking. So let's say the client wanted 5 women for 5 guys. They're there to play golf. I can find those 5 ladies who may already be in my network. And if it's a destination where I don't have ladies, I just put the word out, and already I get referrals, and I have got a bombardment of emails. I'm available for that booking. I've got 5 guys, top guys that I need 5 ladies, and within an hour, I've got 50, 60 women saying, pick me, me too. It's the Me Too movement. Anyway,
But do you ever see people on Instagram though that you would say, this client may like her, and you actually approach them that may not be in the industry beforehand?
where the client shows me a picture of someone that he would like to book, but she's not in the industry.
Yeah, she's not in the industry, so you would approach
No,
them.
I've never had that. I get clients searching the internet for women who are in the industry and saying, Charlie, I like her, can you book them for me? And then I would approach them.
So like, sorry, that's my follow-up question. So like, there are these Instagram girls, right, that have like big followers and stuff, especially all around the world, but in Barbados especially. Like, would you ever approach one if a client?
Yes, but to my trained eye, I can tell if someone is predisposed to saying yes to my proposal on behalf of my client. And yes, I have. But I thought you meant someone who was never in the industry, never had any interest in being in the industry. But there are girls on Instagram, so many of them, who you just know that they're willing to take an offer.
Know how you know though. Like what are the signs on the pages that make you
do I get it wrong sometimes? Of course, but there's no big deal. I'm Charlie Spice. I can ask that question. You can expect that question from me. Okay.
I wanted to ask you. I guess the word that you're less of an artist manager and now you're a bookings agent. on behalf of the
Yes,
client.
and it goes beyond that. It's not just booking a girl, it's an entire VIP concierge service, because very often I'm asked to book accommodation,
Right, which is what I was going to ask.
transportation. I have to, if they want security, I have to get it. If they want to book a helicopter tour, I do that as well.
So-
It's always centered around the girl or the girls.
Right, but you find activities for the couple, the people to do. Like almost like
No, I'm not. They don't look at me as a normal tour guide. It's
well,
usually
you are
it's usually
booking
yes,
accommodation and all of that.
yes,
so-
but it's the things that the activities that they want to do are directly connected to the sex trade. So
Right.
or the adult entertainment industry. It's a girl, and of course he's got to take her for dinner because he wants to impress the girl.
Right.
So you made that reservation.
Right. If I'm asked to do so, he may want to take her to a club, a private club. So I've got to get him into that club by using my connections. But it's never the going on a tour to see
Yeah, I
to
don't
see
mean
the
that.
island and that sort of thing.
I
It's
don't
not
mean
that sort of
tour,
thing.
but
You
I
know?
mean, like you do, like you probably are at the same dinner you mentioned, the same club you mentioned. There are probably things that to provide the girlfriend experience that she would have to do that you might arrange for him to be a part
but
of.
they would usually go to the concierge of the hotel that I've booked them into, or
Okay.
maybe they already booked it themselves. They wouldn't come to me for those things.
So you're creating jobs.
I'm creating jobs.
Well, this is a good segue though. You gonna ask something about this?
No, I just want to know what the overheads entail for getting into a business like this. So what kind of type
Branching
of
out.
overheads?
The internet, the advent of the internet has made it so much easier to get into this industry now. And there are so many more people in the industry.
Right.
As a matter of fact, the internet and social media together have made it possible for girls they don't need to work with people like me.
Right. That's
A
why
girl
I was
doesn't
asking
need
earlier.
me.
Right.
A girl comes to me because she wants to get my clients. She doesn't need me to be in the industry.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And but getting back to the question of overheads, internet access. But you know what? You know, if it depends on what you want to do.
Right.
Do you want to operate from a club? Do you want to operate from a private apartment? Do you want to have a villa, have girls and invite clients there? Do you want to just do an online booking service? So that question is like, how long is a piece of string? But certainly, you know, there's certain basic things you need, but you would have to be a bit more specific. What sector of the industry and what level
Okay.
and what level client you want to go after? Because if you want to go after the very super rich client, you better be ready to spend some serious money to make sure you have the right car, the right clothes, and the right, you know. I could not have attempted to go after the 5 diamond and 5-star clients if I did not have a luxury villa, if I did not have the right car, if I did not have the right credibility as well.
I get it.
So you have to
Because-
maintain a lifestyle.
You have to maintain that
Right,
lifestyle,
right.
or you have to make it appear as though you have that lifestyle.
Which is why you're in a jacket now.
Listen,
To look
thank you.
fancy.
Thank you.
Exactly.
There you
Part
go.
of the brand.
Absolutely.
Yeah, be branding.
I'm branded. I'm branded.
Charlie
if I can
Fix,
ask-
Yeah, well, yeah, glow.
Fortunately for me, because I've already spent over 30 years building
Right, right,
that,
Your name is
that,
there.
that niveau, that credibility, I could come bareback right now and I can still get my
That's fine.
bookings.
That's fine. The law.
The law.
How do you navigate the law? Because as Marcus hinted to earlier, a lot of places aren't warm to the idea of sex work, and the law hasn't caught up with your trade. Or I don't know how best to phrase that, but
Hasn't it?
It has caught up. There is legislation in place that regulates the industry, and in some cases it is not legal, and in some cases it's decriminalized, and I mean there's just it's a minefield now.
okay. So I guess what I'm asking a bit more bluntly then: do you operate illegally in some places?
I would have to say that there is, to some extent, a gray area in my business. But the way I operate and the level at which I operate and the direct approach I have, or the communication I have with my client, it causes me not to be concerned about the same issues someone who is on Bush Hill or operating at a lower level.
Yeah, I guess like to piggyback on that, like really and truly, he just providing a girl for the client. That's their business, what they do for whatever money exchanges.
No, but if you market the business as such, then
How? If I show you,
I never-
if I show you a naked girl, Mosey, I'm not saying
I
you can
never
accept it, right?
use a narrative that incriminates me.
okay, but that makes sense.
And also
Because you
too,
can incriminate
so
yourself.
what Kofi just said is actually correct. My business is so the core of my business is so deeply embedded in if I could effectively live myself as a VIP concierge for adult entertainment. What is adult entertainment?
Have you ever
Adults going out and holding hands?
Right. Very, very gray, very, very vague. Have you ever had to pay authorities to look the other way?
In Europe, yes.
Oh, okay.
When I first went to Eastern Europe, this is an interesting story. I went to a place called Riga in Latvia because it was a great place to recruit some of the most beautiful women in the world who are already in the industry or
Right.
want to get into the industry, because it was the socio-economic situation there was such that there were so many beautiful women who came from extremely poor families, didn't even have heating in their homes, and they know I'm beautiful and this is how I'm going to get out of poverty, because I'm beautiful and I'm going to sell what I have and make my money.
I know 4 girls like that. Anyway,
There you go. So
And how
I went to
much-
Latvia, Riga, to recruit women to take back to London, and I fell in love with Riga. The women were extremely beautiful. There were 3 black guys in Riga. The other 2 were Africans at university who were based there. Now, I only went for a holiday to recruit and leave, but I fell in love and I decided I was going to stay here because I realized that my brand of providing such services was at a much higher level. And also, too, because I was more westernized, at that time, the guys who were operating in the industry were real mafia-looking guys. I'm talking, you can see he's the mafia boss, and those 3 guys are his bodyguards, and they're all carrying Uzis. And
Right.
when the jacket, would blow open, you can see,
A different like.
So that was very scary to. The Iron Curtain had just come down,
Right.
and there were many Westerners going in there to look at investment opportunities. And I felt that was an interesting niche for me to go in there, who is from the West, and they would be more comfortable, feel more safe
Right.
to
Yeah,
let me provide that service to them. Now, I knew that that I have to be connected to one of the mafia groups. You cannot do any business. You could not do any business unless you were connected to one and you were paying your
This
fees.
is what I want to get at.
But I felt that, they would come to me. So I set up shop. I recruited about 28 girls, which was very easy because, they're
They
all...
came to you, the mafia.
Oh, because you were leveraging.
Hang on a
your-
second.
Oh.
Yeah.
They didn't know. I set up
Okay.
shop. I got me a beautiful apartment and I started to operate my business. And I was expecting one of them to come to me to say, okay, let's talk about what you're going to pay, And this went on for about 5 months. No one came to me because there were 4 or 5 mafia groups, and each group thought I was with one of the other 4.
Mm.
So there I am operating. I'm the man about town. Everybody knows Charlie Spice. All the girls are coming to me, and until one day I got a knock on the door, and one of the mafia groups with the boss came in, and this is exactly what he said. He knocked and he came in, and I knew him. I knew all the mafia bosses. I knew everyone. He came in laughing, and it was like a roar, ha 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 ha. I like you, Charlie Spice. You got balls. You got big balls. You don't belong to any group, do you? I said, no, I was waiting for somebody to come talk to me. He said, well, from today you belong to us. And you're not going to pay us anything. You're going to work with us. You're going to help us run our business the way you run yours. And that's how I got into working with the mafia. And I moved from 28 girls to 20,000 girls overnight. Between Moscow
What a network.
between Moscow and
That's
and
wonderful.
Kiev.
So okay, so let's now bring it down to Barbados now. How do you navigate in Barbados, not only with politics but also the police? And is it more lenient? Do you have to look out for things? Have you ever had run-ins with the law?
You see, like Kofi said, when I operate a business where I introduce people and what they do in the privacy of their home or their hotel room is their business. So I don't have that issue. And I make it my business to have a very good relationship with people in certain positions to be informed about legislation.
Politicians
about
tell him
politics,
things,
about,
yes.
you know, I-
Politicians tell him things.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. But I make sure that I'm connected to people who can inform me about my modus operandi,
Right.
so that I can be one step of that issue.
I want to admit, it's not really.
I think I'm going to have a drink. This conversation is causing me to have a drink, and I don't drink normally.
So remember earlier we were talking about you providing services for clients or what's not. And to tie in Marcus's and Moses' question of run-ins with the law, you're providing an adult service. Adults do things. Sometimes adults might want drugs.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you if you're a drug dealer. I'm asking like, is that something that might have come up? Like you need to find out
All the
someone
time.
that provide. Well, good.
All the
How
time.
do you escape the law like that?
All the time. I know people who do everything. So I can suggest someone calls a person and they sort it out. I don't get involved. I don't want to get involved. I remember I was on a plane going to Jamaica many, many years ago. And I was speaking
Point
to-
out 1 minute, Charlie. Excuse me. What do you put on your form as employment when you travel?
when I
And occupation.
Well, I have several other businesses
Okay.
that are
Okay,
mainstream.
alright.
So I'm an entrepreneur.
friends.
I'm an entrepreneur.
Fair enough.
So friends.
You know, I'm into property as well. I'm into this and that. So
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So going to Jamaica.
But I was going to Jamaica, and a senior police officer said to me, you know, everybody knows you. Everybody knows what you do. And do not ever get involved in drugs. No, I never got involved in drugs, and I never intend to. But he said to me, just keep that out of your business. You know, what you do is basically palatable because the way you operate and so on. But make sure you never. And I never had any intention of getting into drugs, so that was fine. But I remember that was this is a very senior police officer who said that to me.
It still sounds as though you are in some way like enabling it though. And although enabling may not be, you may be skating the law, but isn't there something kind of wrong with that?
Morally, though.
Yeah.
Have you
Yeah.
That's an interesting conversation.
have you ever
At this time.
have you ever met
Or morals.
have you ever met a couple of girls?
Yeah, we crossed that bridge ever since, boy.
Yeah.
Yes, what I mean.
Since the camera turned on. Anyway.
Have you ever met a couple of girls and decided to call a few mates and say, look, there's some girls over here, let's go have some fun, and end up having sex?
Yeah.
Did you enable that sex, right? Is
Yeah.
that illegal?
No, but that's sex though. We're all here because of sex. Sex is different from drugs.
Oh,
Sex is substantial.
you talk about drugs.
I'm talking about drugs. I'm talking about drugs.
Okay,
Right,
the
right.
drugs, bro.
Right,
Okay.
right. So I'm saying when you enable
Okay.
something like that, when you make a call like here's the
When
drug
I
dealer.
say to a client, I'm not involved, I don't get involved in drugs.
Right.
But if you go to Whole Town, wait 5 minutes and somebody will offer you something.
Okay.
You know, I don't have a relationship with someone that gives me a kickback because I say, no. But I'm quite happy to say, you go to Whole Town and you'll get sorted.
Right, okay.
You know,
okay.
I don't provide it here.
Okay, my question is also related to that. In terms of sex now, you as you said, you were just kind of like the middleman in terms of the whole sex thing, right? But what the girls under you are doing is illegal, correct?
But the girls under me are doing
I mean, as in Charlie's under him. Yeah. The Charlie Spice Angels, right?
Yeah.
What they're doing is illegal.
I have a disclaimer that says that I am just your agent, and whatever you do, I have no legal or financial responsibility for any actions
There we go.
that transpire between you and your client. That's entirely up to you. And as far as I know, the way you operate is legal. That's a standard disclaimer in the industry, and so that's why it's very difficult to, and perhaps why there has never been a prosecution in Barbados for prostitution. You check the law library. There's never been a prosecution for prostitution.
Man, that's also make up.
In Barbados.
No, but it made sense.
It's very difficult as well because 2 or 3 persons must confess that they've done something illegal.
Yeah.
The girl is not going to confess. The client is not going to confess.
I'm sure as hell they confess.
I'm sure as I'm not going to confess anything. So, and it's a waste of time. I am a strong advocate for decriminalization of the sex trade. I've actually started to put together a white paper for the government, the governments across the Caribbean, to take a serious look at decriminalizing and regulating prostitution, so that the government, because
there's a market for sex tourism for sure.
oh yes, the only entity that is not making money directly from this sex trade, which has grown exponentially over the years to the point where in Barbados alone it is generating in excess of $100 million a year.
What, Charlie?
As a contribution to the gross domestic product.
Wait, hold on.
The only entity is the government.
I think you mean the people making that.
No, that's
In total.
what's gross. That's what the industry is grossing.
Right, not what the government could be making.
Are you?
I don't think that's that ridiculous.
Are you saying
Crazy.
the industry
A year?
the industry consists of more
That's
than?
the region.
No, that's Barbados.
ridiculous.
Hold on a minute.
Go
The
on.
industry consists
Let
of.
me calculate something.
Wait, hold on a minute.
I'll give you a calculation in a minute. You bring your calculator up.
The industry consists of, when you say the industry, you mean more than just the
Prostitutes.
sexual transaction, right? The monetary transaction. You're also saying what comes with that, which would be also the accommodation, all that stuff too, or you just mean?
Let me break it down. We're talking about prostitutes. We're talking about male, female prostitutes from the LGBTQ community. We're speaking about street level prostitutes, the middle market, the high class. We're talking about those from Barbados, across the region, the international market.
Okay.
Oh,
No. Who are in Barbados? No, this is Barbados.
Jamaicans.
So still Barbados. It's still Barbados.
Yes.
I mean, Jamaicans are
Wait,
Canadians
now
straight
we're talking about the sex industry. We're talking about the what should I say? The parallel market, the secondary economy that benefits directly from the sex trade. Every time a client, most times a client books a girl, he books a taxi, he books a restaurant. So
Right.
so that's the secondary market. Okay, that feeds directly into the sex trade.
Oh, so you put all that into that 100 million?
No, the 100 million is
peripheral-
that is also included, but the 100 million, I'm going to give you a calculation in a minute, which is the direct sexual services. Then we got sex toys, which is massive in Barbados.
Oh,
Surge
okay,
for
okay.
sure.
Oh, yeah.
There's a
Okay,
surge.
then we have now the webcam girls who are operating from rooms, bedrooms, and they're on a platform and they're making money by. Okay,
Who girls?
there are many girls.
But you could say them though, saying that we could watch them, right? You could say the girls.
But I don't
no?
think that the girl's gonna go out to Barbados and tags, Marcus.
I'll tell you how to Google and find them after the interview.
Yeah.
But they're all over the place. They are all over the place. A lot of them are on Instagram as well. Anyway, so when you look at the time I was doing the calculation, there's no accurate survey you can do
Right.
to find out how many sex workers are in Barbados
Because it's
because they're so hypocritical. They all deny it and so on. Okay.
Right.
And it's criminal
But-
liability as well.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
There was a time we have in excess of 3,000 sex workers in Barbados in any given day, from across the region, from Barbados.
Oh, okay.
From the around the major markets. Those who are full time, those who are part time, those who are opportunistic sex workers. Okay. Let's imagine, on average, they're making $300 a night. times 3,000 times 365. How much is that?
That's $328,000. That's $328 million.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
Charlie. All right.
The government is not making any money
All right,
from
the
that
only,
directly.
the only number that you just called that I would say song off is the amount of sex workers. 3,000 sound like a lot.
I am the authority.
You are right.
I am the authority.
I ain't combating you. I ain't combating you. I'm just saying that
And
just
when
truly sounds like a lot of money.
I'm judging that based on certain clubs in Barbados have over 50 girls at a time.
You mean straight clubs?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yes.
Now, when you say clubs, just one clarification.
Right,
Straight
Yes,
clubs.
yes.
No.
And then the ones that work privately, and also you see, because of my private business as well as being involved in the Adult Industry Association, I have by far a greater ability to assess the size of the market
Right.
than any other
for
academic that is doing research
Right.
for the university.
You got boots on the ground.
Okay, so we're looking at about 3,000 or more.
But okay. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's a lot of money. But at the end of the day, Barbados is just a blank tourism industry, if you get me. We're the island, we're the like, you know, the old beautiful sunset, beautiful beaches. Don't you think, like, which is normally family friendly?
You said beaches, right?
Yeah, not bitches.
Oh.
Beaches.
Okay.
Which is normally family friendly. Like, you bring your family, you come to Barbados, you jump on a boat, you come to Barbados. Don't you think that, like, from a marketing standpoint, you know,
Yes.
that adding sex tourism, 'cause I'm not taking my good up son to Amsterdam. Because all I know about Amsterdam is whores and weed. We could go to Amsterdam.
Okay.
Not my family. So don't you think that's taken away from the brand that we've been building?
RPG rating will go
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Fortunately or unfortunately, the sex trade penetrates the tourism industry.
You with the puns.
You mind just with these words, Bree. Did you read the source before you came here?
Wherever there is an increase in tourism, you will find an increase in commercial sex activity. There are many girls from around the world who make their way to Barbados, November, and stay as long as they can through the high season to make money because they know the richest of the rich come here. Barbados, and I don't know if you know this, but I'm a guest lecturer at the University of the West Indies. I've been doing this for about 4.5 years, which is another story. That's an interesting story right there. Mm-hmm. But I lecture on the sex trade and the impact that it has on the sustainability of tourism. I lecture to the final year students of tourism management studies. And the sex trade is inextricably linked to tourism. So much so, and it's making such a major contribution financially in terms of foreign exchange and, that I wonder if Barbados can survive without the sex trade.
But
So.
okay, but what you still didn't address what Kofi said though, as if we brand ourselves as saying we are legalizing and standing behind something such as sex work and prostitution, although it may increase in one area in terms of it being family friendly, wouldn't we lose the economic profit?
Barbados is not supporting the market. The marketeers at the tourism authorities do not support the sex trade. It is growing generically. Barbados is known more for studs with 9 and 10-inch dicks than the sex trade, where women come here to be sexually pleased.
Right.
We have that has grown. We're known more for that than the sex trade.
The things that we are known for, I don't think we outwardly brand ourselves
Right,
and say.
exactly.
The minute though that the law says that on the books we are legalizing something like prostitution, that is something that the country and the values of the country stands behind. And don't you think that would decrease in another way in tourism from the family-friendly perspective?
The family-oriented traveler would still come to Barbados because if you want to be involved in this, to get involved in the sex trade, you know where to go. And I think one of the part of the policy or part of the act should be that it's zoned where certain places are allowed to operate and so on. So the family will still come here. Barbados will never lose its reputation as a family-friendly place because we happen to be realistic about the sex trade. Because we are so concerned about the health crisis and the criminality surrounding the sex trade, and also we're now following other countries in by decriminalizing and legalizing the cultivation of marijuana for medical purposes.
Right.
The next step is to look at this, because it's a reality. We're burying our heads in the sand, and we're not controlling it.
There's a lot that you said that I agree with and a lot that I disagree with.
Okay.
I don't think you could compare blank. You can't make those two blank statements that we're legalizing medicinal marijuana and we can eventually legalize prostitution. Whilst I do understand, you said in the rise of tourism comes the rise of sex tourism, which it makes sense. The more people come here, the more the locals can try to hustle them. And if a woman can hustle him with her vagina, she will.
Of course.
So that's reasonable to say. But at the same time, as both me and Marcus were saying, like, I have a very fond memory of the last in last year I went in New York in winter time, and I was on a train to Long Island, and I saw right next to me, "Come to Barbados" on a big ad. I thought that was so cool, right? No. That is, looking at that ad, it was pretty beaches that had like flying fish, which I don't see no more. That had like, Barbadian
carnival
things.
costumes and things.
It looked really nice. No, I'm not saying that the day after the day after prostitution gets hypothetically legalized, that can just be a dildo up on the poster.
Right.
But the image of Barbados can change.
Yeah.
In states and countries that prostitution is legal, the first thing is think about is when you think about Vegas, I was thinking about coin slots, whores. That's the order.
Right.
Yeah.
Because in Nevada is state, right?
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
In
retired
Nevada,
celebrities.
pardon me?
Or retired celebrities.
That's the third thing to think of.
Yeah.
In Nevada, prostitution is legal, but that's just so I don't want personally Barbados to be seen as Whoreville.
You know, I think we're losing the plot here in Barbados. We're losing traffic to other places who have a more realistic view about the world as it is today. We're stuck in the back ages. I think, I don't know. Sometimes there's some things that happen that make me think we're still a bloody banana republic in Barbados.
True.
Everyone agrees with that.
And I believe that it would be wise of the government to start looking at ways of, if not legalizing, decriminalizing,
That I
and
agree.
certainly
That I
managing it to make sure that the
workers are safe.
health crisis
Yeah, for real, I agree.
is not out of control.
I agree.
And the criminality that surrounds it, where women are getting raped and beaten up, and they go to a police department, and the police saying, "Well, you should expect to get raped. You're a whore."
Yeah.
That is nonsense.
I agree with that 100%.
Also, too,
Very interesting.
if all this money is being generated, we have to protect our tourism, because the tourists are going to the strip clubs. The tourists are booking the local sex workers. We need to protect the tourists, so we need to regulate it to protect the tourism, which is our main industry.
Right.
If we don't do this, we're going to end up with some serious incidents that will not be in our best
Charlie would be
interest.
satisfied with just the decriminalization of it.
And the management of it,
you
yes.
don't-
Right.
But we wouldn't necessarily require
Legalization.
legalization or a budget to say let's promote this.
Cause those
Oh,
are
no,
those
we
are
don't
very-
need- no,
exactly,
no.
those are two very
That's
different
what I'm
things.
saying. So
Yes,
I don't
very
think,
different
I don't
things.
think that he's advocating for that.
Right.
It'll never
He's
happen.
advocating
It'll never
for
happen. It'll
just-
never happen.
Just so you can do both things.
Look, I don't want John Cain being minister for it.
Right.
I can't
Okay,
say that
Speak for
straight.
yourself.
Go ahead, Charlie. You were making a point.
No, that is very true. That is not. It's not realistic for me to think that we could because it is not. There are many ministers who would agree with me in a private meeting,
Like
but
who?
they will never go on a podium and say that, because it is not politically expedient
Right.
to support this. You know, they all have to find a way to the church on Sundays. How are they gonna relate to their minister?
Right. Precisely.
You know, that,
Precisely.
I'm going to
Good point.
support. You know
All
what
those
Charlie
special
Spicer is saying.
interests- Special interests.
Yeah. Good
Yes,
point.
but I think that there are many reasons that we should seriously take a look at that. And at least I think the government should pull together a think tank to decide how we would go about it if we were to consider managing this industry, which is generating, because the more people get into it, the more potential for something wrong to happen, something very bad to happen.
Okay.
I do agree with what you're saying. Let's talk about the safety of the women that are on the streets and stuff. From what you've heard, are they safe? And have you heard about like a lot of incidents where that the same thing that you described has been the case, where they went to police and the police kind of disregarded them because they were prostitutes?
I have been sent messages about this on many occasions in the past. How safe are the women? How unsafe are they? How many incidents have there been? There are so many unreported incidents of rape, physical abuse, because these women, they're not going to go to the authorities, the police, because one, they run the risk of being victimized a second time. They run the risk of being arrested for doing something that is illegal. They might be from another country, a foreign country, and so there's so many unreported cases out there, and this is why there's a need to regulate it so that everything can come to the surface, where the women can feel sure that when they come to the authorities, they're treated fairly and their human rights are not violated.
So because you're on the streets and you're doing something that's illegal, wouldn't you discourage women doing that?
I would discourage any woman from getting into the sex industry.
Really?
People have asked me, oh yes, people have asked me, would you encourage your daughter to become a prostitute? I don't have a daughter, by the way, but if I did, or if my sons wanted to become male prostitutes, I would try to discourage them because I know the dark side of this industry.
Hold up. What?
Yes, I would discourage them, but I'm not finished. But if they insist that they want to get involved, and I cannot, I cannot stop them, then I would then give them the benefit of my experience and my expertise so that they can make as much money as they can and be as safe as possible. And not judge them for it.
But then why would you on a daily basis, and a lot of what the women will be doing then will be their choices could be based on immaturity and ignorance. Why would you exploit that, knowing that there's a dark side to the industry where you, on a regular day, if you could not profit, you would discourage them? Why would you still want to contribute to that?
The way I operate in the industry, if I at any time think that there is a danger to the women I work with, I would do my utmost to stay away from that danger. I operate at a level where the most of the problems I get from the industry come from the clients, not the women. And from the, well, no, that's not, there's no, at that level, the clients they can ill afford to cause a problem. They've got too much to lose. Right. There are men who are my clients that if it were found out, their stock market values would drop.
The stock market.
So we don't have a problem with me sending a girl to a client and I'm worried about her being raped, or you know what I mean. He's worried about the girl blackmailing him.
Right.
Pay me $100,000. I'm going to make sure your wife knows that you spent the night with me. That is something that I'm most concerned about in my industry.
I want to tackle something you just said.
That's an insurance policy still. How I look at it, because I mean, when you operate at that level, where there's so much to lose from the client's perspective, that's a good position to be in, right? Because then you get to control that this person isn't going to go rogue and kind of do.
By the way,
random things.
Is it a good position for a girl to be in though?
Yeah.
Hang on a minute.
Let me explain that, because there's a security in that, knowing that this is just some run-of-the-mill kind of person from the street that can do me dirty or whatever. There's a comfort in knowing that this is high level, and knowing that this person is an important person that can honor their entity.
But if I say not important but powerful person, powerful people misuse the power all the time. And to be in a situation where you have a transaction like that, where sex is involved and feelings are involved, that person can easily misuse their power to hurt you. But not only outside of the transaction, and if you rub them the wrong way, they could easily.
No, when they have something to lose, that's exactly the point that he's making.
That's right.
There's too much at stake for the client.
Nah, the Me Too
Whereas,
is different though.
Oh
Anyway.
no, there's difference. This is the difference.
You can't bring me into this.
No, if you're going to Bush Hill and whatnot, you're I resist the temptation to use this taxi number.
Right.
But you going
Right.
to Bush Hill, right? You're just a taxi man. Taxi man can say anything about you, and talk all kind of things about your character. Maybe dignate your character.
Right. Shout out to whoever that is.
Whoever that is.
Right.
Dirty.
Yes, dirty. That person has more power over you, right, than a person who is in a high position, who has too much to lose,
Right.
right? So that puts the prostitute in a position of power in the sense that
Yes.
Like Tiger Woods.
Like I said, the most of the
He good
problems,
for it, and
Yeah.
most of the problems that I experience come from the girls. I've had situations where girls stole the
girls
man's.
are the clients, no? 'Cause you
The
said
girls,
clients earlier.
the girls.
Okay.
I've had situations where the girls stole the Rolex watch or cash or whatever, and he can't complain. He can't go to the authorities.
say a thing.
Can't say a thing. So why do they need me? They expect that I will use my experience to vet and select the girls carefully to avoid or to minimize those problems,
Right. Okay.
because they have a lot at stake. And so there will always be a need for a Charlie Spice in the industry at this level.
Which brings me to something else. So similar to the actual girls, it's kind of an insurance policy for you as well, because then you're working with a high profile client. They have more to lose than you. I mean, you've already come to terms with the fact that you provide such services, or you are concierge, all right?
Okay.
You've already established that.
Yeah.
The reputation of it is something that you benefit from. It's kind of an insurance policy for you too as well, in that these clients have to pay because then there's a possibility of blackmail or,
That's right.
or whatnot. My question is this. Do you ever fear that clients, if they're not satisfied with the experience, that they will come for you in less than legal ways? Hitmen or
No.
things like that.
No. That comes down to me being able to choose the girls. I know how to choose girls. And,
But Charlie, shit happens.
shit happens, yes, of course, shit happens. But no, that has never been a problem. No, it's never even been a concern of mine. If these guys have so much money that if the experience is not what they expected, they just ask me not to book that girl again. Money is not the issue.
Is it
These
that the
days.
money is not issue, or is that your brand is so valued that they know that wasn't you, that was her?
Yes, that's also a consideration. But we're talking over 30 years. My clients, I have some clients who have been with me for over 23 years. I have clients whose sons are now my clients.
Okay.
So I have that credibility, and if something goes wrong, usually they just ask me to sort it out. And in that case, it's
But how do you police that, Charlie?
how do I police the
To me, the
quality of service?
Has the girl do something?
No, I mean overall this
overall. Like for instance, you just mentioned a scenario that can happen, and I'm glad you brought it up. Stealing things from the clients. What if the client comes after you for something like that? Say, well, look, this person stole my watch.
Right.
I understand that. This
a
is your
referral,
responsibility.
right?
Yes,
So,
yes. That has never happened. There are very few cases where that has happened to me. I speak mostly of cases that were brought to me because of the Adult Industry Association. But me personally, I've only had that on 2 or 3 occasions in the past 30 years. Okay?
Yep.
And that's nothing for these guys.
But hypothetically, isn't that a possibility? I mean, you've
It
not
is a
had
possi-
it.
It's a
but
possibility,
it's a
yes.
possibility.
Sorry about that. I lost my mic. It must be the drink.
Right, you said
By the way, I
that's
can't be responsible for anything I say hereafter, okay? Because
So name
I'm
names.
gone past my I've gone past my
You
threshold.
mentioned something before that I don't know how it didn't tickle anybody else. You said if a client gets caught and the stock market crash. Now, as a man that interested in investing, I know that like
His stock shares.
Right. His stock shares, yeah.
Yeah,
But
okay.
for me to be so involved in the company that my decisions, my personal decisions, causing the stock to go down, I gotta be in the company.
Yes.
Right. So
As in one of the founding members or something.
you know what I mean? Like, right. So like, you are you really saying that your clientele is that kind of level?
Yes.
Like,
Let me reinforce that.
uh-huh.
Here in Barbados, and I'm sure you guys can attest to this, we have a culture.
As the whores in your room.
I'm a happily married man. Okay.
I'm joking.
Here in Barbados, the absolute richest person can be walking the beach and a poor kid or a person could say hi and those two people can become friends. I've seen it so many times.
Yep.
I know a guy, well, he was a kid back then, 5 years old, who met a German guy, super wealthy. And he couldn't even read and write, the kid, and ended up going to Germany and being sort of adopted by this family. The point I'm making is that meeting rich people, here in Barbados is easy. Not just for me, for anyone.
Yeah,
That's true.
True. Very, very true.
I have the uncanny ability to connect with rich people because of the way I am. I would walk into a bar in London or anywhere in the world that I've never been to before, and because of the way, not only because of the way I dress, but because of the way I carry myself,
The way you
I
speak?
find that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have to. No, I haven't spoken yet. I just walked in.
Okay.
I'm just having a drink. People gravitate toward. People want to. Who's that guy? Who's that guy? And I think it's having dealt with so many wealthy people and so many, over the years. I just have a self-confidence that exudes from me, and people tell me, they see me and they want to know who's this guy. People come over and say, who are you?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're so confident, and I meet a lot of wealthy people. So, and also I make it my business to know wealthy people because it's my marketing, and I'm able to. If I were a prostitute, if I die and come back as a woman, I'm going to be a prostitute, a high class one. Let me tell you, I'm going to make a ton of money.
Even though
I'm going to make a
dark side
ton of money.
exists.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you
That's
can
how he
never
knows
get
me.
treated dark side.
Oh, yeah.
He knows dark. He knows
Right,
dark.
he knows.
Oh
right.
yeah. Oh
He was
yeah.
born in darkness. That's
I was
a big-
smiling because I thought of it.
That's a big goal. You watch Batman?
Leave it out.
Anyway,
leave it out.
I wanted to talk about the PPP. You were the person in charge of the PPP. You started
It was
it,
a
right?
PPP?
The Prostitute People's Party.
I was not
Poking.
leaving.
I know.
People prostitution
one-
party or whatever. I don't know.
was
But
not
that was
a
a laugh. Okay, let me say now for the audience, that was a, what do you call it in the UK? There's an expression they call it. Anyway, it was a ruse.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Now, we all know of Natlee, who was the sex worker who became
Politician.
forgive politician.
Charlie, you're sharp, man.
Jesus.
Anyway, we all have heard of Natlee. When I heard that there was a prostitute running for government for office, I did not know who Natlee was at the time. I did not know who. I never heard any of her videos or seen them. Nothing. I just heard that a prostitute is running and people are giving her a lot of stick, a hard time in the press and social media. And as someone from the industry, someone who represents sex workers all over the world via the Adult Industry Association, I felt it was my responsibility to contact this person and see what support I can give her.
Okay.
Never knew who she was. I found out from someone Natalee's number, and I messaged her and I said, Natlee, I am Charlie Spice. I would like to manage your campaign. Did not know this woman from Adam.
Brave.
And she responded, some people were telling me I should call you. My number, I had a number, so I called her. She said people were telling her that she needs to call me for some support, some advice. It was only then that I decided that I needed to do some research on this woman. And I saw the videos for the first time. I said to Natlee, just text me, I, Natlee, blah, 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 hereby appoint Charlie Spice as my campaign manager.
Right.
That's all I need from you. Then I decided it was time to do some research, and I looked at the videos. And I said to me, what the fuck did I get myself into?
Right.
Really, that is exactly what the fuck did I get myself into? You can bleep this afterwards.
No, we don't bleep.
No, we don't.
We don't bleep. We never. It's an uncensored show.
Anyway, and I studied her videos, everything she said and so forth. And I couldn't believe it. But she had 44,000 followers. I'm like,
She had
what?
numbers for sure.
She had the numbers.
Yeah.
And I decided to meet with her, and I discussed my campaign strategy, and I said, listen, I never thought Natlee would win, okay? But for me, it was an opportunity to send a message to society that even a prostitute can run for public office.
It did take traction. Though.
Yes,
It was-
I did an audio endorsement, which you might have heard.
Oh, you heard.
It went all around. I couldn't believe how far that got. When I endorsed her, and she just was propelled from there. Everybody wanted to talk to us. I did a number of interviews, and Natlee got to the point where people in the streets were coming up wanting to donate money.
I could believe that.
People were calling me from all over wanting to know how can we send money, because they also, the message that I was sending via that campaign resonated with a lot of people.
People want.
And she had a lot of support, but she went
rogue.
rogue.
But people like a success story. People like a
But
ground up.
better. Beijing's like scandal.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's more
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
People like the fact that you know what she was.
Yeah.
People like that.
Yeah.
Beijing's in particular.
Drama. They like the drama.
They like the
Politics.
drama.
I'm going to come back to the answer to your question.
Right.
But it has to start with Natlee.
Right.
The problem I had with Natlee, it was too difficult to manage her. She was already a social media sensation.
Right.
But people then started to take her campaign seriously when I got involved and started to, because I brought that level of seriousness to it. People just took her as a joke at the beginning. I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but that is a fact.
Jokes win elections though.
I'm sorry?
Pardon?
Jokes win elections though.
Crime
Yeah,
and
but,
violence.
And Trump's.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so in my opinion, I think the celebrity status went a bit to her head, and it was difficult to manage her. And all the support she started to get financially, I had no way of tracking it. So it was not possible for me to manage the campaign fund.
Are y'all okay currently?
Is she an angel?
We haven't, no. Natlee has never worked for me. And contrary to popular belief, I never slept with Natlee. People have always challenged me on that, assumed that. But, so I decided it was in my best interest to step down at some point. And I made that announcement. And Natlee lambasted me with cuss, as they
she
say in
did?
Barbados.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, you
Oh,
hold that,
she lambasted me with cuss.
boy. Yeah, boy.
And I...
He was almost Dirty Harry.
Oh, I was...
Right, they made that song come out, boy. She would make that song about you, boy.
Dirty who? Because I mean, you wasn't saying it before.
I have a lot of regard for Natlee. How can I not? I mean,
Yeah.
Natlee is
She's,
from my industry,
cultural
you know? And I see a lot of mistakes. I've seen mistakes that she has made, and it's unfortunate. But there were certain individuals in the political circles who actually contacted me, and they were concerned about the potential Natlee had,
There's a lot of-
not only to win, but to take votes away from
I
one
heard that.
side.
I heard that.
I believe
And they
that.
want,
I believe
that's
she
right,
could.
I was encouraged to ask
Yeah,
Natlee
that's exactly what I heard.
to join the BLP. I was encouraged because she became a force to reckon with.
At one point, at least.
At one
I heard
point,
that, but
at
I
one
just thought
point, that was a
being
concern.
gaff.
Oh, so
No, that made a lot of sense to me.
It made sense,
Yes.
but I wasn't sure if it was gaff or not.
She really was a force.
She was
I mean,
a force,
For a long
yes.
time, people were talking about
But
that.
she was
and
doing
she was
things, you know,
taking-
like during her run, they had like things she was doing that was like, yo, like
You think she did in tone?
then she was in the community
She
doing
was.
things.
I was with her on that.
She
was
really,
underground
that,
doing
that,
leverage
that doesn't speak to political acumen at all. That's just
No,
It does a lot more than any politician I could think of. That's like most politicians could think of.
but there's a lot more to actually like being in a political position than making change in
You
society.
are 100% correct.
So I mean, even
But-
even the moving the cars and things that don't mean
but-
nothing
but
in
being
terms of
personal-
that.
About
that
Marcus?
is fundamental, though.
It's fundamental
Fundamental
to
what?
campaign strategy.
Campaign strategy.
Campaign strategy, but I mean, in terms of actually like saying no on voting, that this person can actually manage
You are
after
right,
the campaign.
yeah, but-
it's-
but-
Okay,
so
it's easier
really
to vote.
hard.
It's easier to vote
Okay.
for a face that I know than a familiar face
and
that
that
experience.
feels like somebody from.
Let me
That's
tell
what
you
you're about
what
me?
my strategy
Come
was.
on,
Let me tell you what my
Marcus.
strategy was. At no time did I think Natlee could win.
Right.
Society was.
But
yeah.
I felt that there was a place for Natlee because she resonated with poor people from the city. And I said to Natlee, let us consider this offer to go on the side of the BLP.
Wait, sorry, offer?
That was my said earlier, B. I hear it's over.
It was offer, he said?
Yes, to go on the side of the BLP.
But I thought that was gaff.
Step down from running,
Misheard.
but bring her support
Yeah,
over
to
to
the
the
BLP.
BLP.
Okay.
Right.
To step down and be given some position where she could work with the poor people and be the voice of the poor people. That was my plan
Not a
for
platform.
Natlee.
She has more power on Instagram.
Yes.
Like the people got certain. Hold on a minute. People got certain roles, right? I would never want Bejan Farai to be primarily on the radio. Because the radio is something, for example,
We tried that.
where there's censorship, and he can't be his authentic self. People resonate with him being raw. People resonate with Natlee being raw. And so if Natlee on Instagram or wherever she has her followers decides to put a message in there, that will resonate a lot better than if she was in a political.
But you can do that in a political
You can
position.
do both.
Nah,
You
nah.
can in Marcus.
Nah, you can't.
No,
You
no.
can't.
Hear me
You can't.
out. Hear me out. Let me say, approached Charlie and Natlee from the BLP, right? And was like, this is your salary. This is your position now. But do what you're doing and tell the poor people, we fed up, vote for the BLP on that same Instagram platform. No one has to know that's her job. No one has to know that the reason why she turned to
Oh,
be
well,
with
I
the
get
BLP.
that. I get that.
You can easily
I
create
get
that job.
that.
There is no
I get that.
difficulty
No, I
in
mean,
that.
in terms of
Especially in Barbados.
in terms of saying, if someone came out and said, I am appointing Natlee as this person in the BLP.
She cannot run for the city of Bridgetown on BLP. That's shit.
Right.
But
But she
And
would
she
be-
was
she
a
would be
step
part
down.
of the platform.
and she was a step
behind
down
the
from
scenes,
running.
behind the
and-
scenes,
Not
like
behind the scenes, like
But be
a
a
face for the
face.
poor,
Right.
a face for
A
the poor
face.
people.
Face for the poor people, yes.
publicly supported by BLP.
There's a bit
Listen to me, right? Listen to me,
There's
right?
not-
You know
you
the
can't do
BLP.
that.
You know the
You can't do
BLP.
that. You can't do
You know
that.
the BLP publicly
Because-
chose Sir
Depends on the
Fado.
narrative.
But at the time she was
There,
running,
Uncle
at the
Rosie
time
did.
she was running, I said to Natlee, you have to stop being a prostitute on Bush Hill. The moment you want to take this seriously, you have to never go back to Bush Hill. And I said to Natlee, I will support you financially, give you a place to stay, so that you don't have to go back to Bush Hill, because you can't do that.
Right.
So as long as she removes herself from being an operator on Bush Hill, she can be given a position that allows her to do what she does best in the forums that she does it best, to represent or be a voice for the poor people. Now, I need to answer your question because you want to know about the PPP.
Right.
Okay? I stepped down. That did not go down well. Natlee decided to publish a few
Blasted.
videos about me and so on. And I had organized. I was contacted by a TV production company in the United States, who heard about Natlee and my managing her and wanted to do an expose on Natlee from prostitute to politician. And that had all the potential to become a movie eventually. And they were very excited about it. They actually flew to Barbados with a team, makeup, art, everything. And Natlee, for some reason, did not take up the opportunity to go. She kept finding she never turned up for the interviews.
She was shy.
Who's
Yes.
the station? Saying that it passed and gone.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that.
Is there opportunity for something further?
Anyway, twice she didn't show up, and then they said to me, well, she's not going to show up, because they left and went back to New York. They said, look, why don't we do a story about you then, Charlie? Managing a prostitute, a person who is a prostitute to a politician. And I actually did a few interviews with them, just like we're having now. I did a few interviews. It's not completed yet, but because they got onto other things, so that's But they called me recently, and they're gonna start doing the editing and whatever. Anyway, when that experience with Natlee basically failed, I don't think it failed, to be honest. It allowed me to prove the point I wanted to prove. It gave me a lot of publicity from as for the association and for me personally as someone in the industry, and I decided this cannot end here. I'm going to rile up the media and form a political party called People's Prostitution Party.
I ain't gonna lie. I thought PPP was the sort of my party.
Was it what?
You know, the sort of my behind K. Shower is run a particular party, right?
That's something else though.
You sure?
I think so. I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure you saw mine was PPP. But whatever.
No.
So I made the bold
It
statement.
was a VPN. Was there?
I don't know, but
What commission was her name?
there's a lot of parties in Barbados. I don't know any names.
Right. You were saying.
Anyway, I made the bold statement that I'm going to launch a political party. I just wanted to keep the narrative going.
Yeah. I see what you did. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
see what you did
Keep
there.
myself in the press, and also to, if it resonated with people in a positive way,
Right.
who knows? Maybe it can become a party, because I certainly have the experience to do it.
Right.
And that's how the PPP was given
You have
birth.
the experience though, but you have the political experience.
Probably not, but you get people with that experience.
You're correct. Oh yeah, you asked that question.
I believe I heard once Natlee said, and I've heard other prostitutes and strippers say that they wouldn't recommend anybody to do what they do either. And there's also the thought that the reason why you girls get into the industry is because of a broken home, absent father, abusive mother, all that stuff. What do you think about that?
Well, there's so many reasons why. There's a plethora of reasons why people get into the sex trade, and everybody has a unique story.
So there's
But
no
yes,
pattern? You don't think that
there's
is a broken home, daddy issues thing?
One pattern is sexual abuse as a child. I see a lot of this. And broken homes, of course, yes. But sexual abuse as a child is definitely one of them. Because when you're sexually abused as a child, you grow up having the wrong type of opinion about sex. Sex is something that people use to take advantage of other people. Sex is something that people use to inflict pain on other people. Sex is something nasty. Sex is not something that two people who are in love with each other use as an opportunity to have a wonderful experience. It's not that. It's something negative. So therein lies part of the reasoning for people to gravitate towards the sex trade.
Were you abused?
I don't know if I can say I was abused. Legally, yes. When I had, at 8 or 9 years old, I had a sexual experience with a 19-year-old, lady, because a young lady, and who took advantage of me, but technically it is abuse. But I couldn't wait for that to happen because I was quite attracted to her as a youngster, and so I couldn't. And I knew she had a relationship with a number of other people, and I couldn't wait for it to be my turn. I couldn't wait to grow up and have my turn, and so she did. So technically, yes, she did take advantage of me.
And so that's a conversation I think we had on here too. That right now the narrative is, and I guess you agree with it, that boys, that it is abuse. But what we were questioning, is it like the same way for boys as it is for girls? Because boys, I've heard a lot of experiences where boys would say, well, I had a situation with a woman that was a lot older and she was above legal age. But it was cool though. It was sex.
I handled
But
myself.
maybe like
Right.
you don't notice. How,
I
how it affects you.
remember chasing her around my grandmother's house, and this is actually documented in my book. I remember chasing her around the house and sticking my hand under her skirt or grabbing her breast or whatever and getting an erection. So I brought it on myself. So technically, legally, yes, it's abuse because I was underage and she was an adult.
A lot of people would be very upset to hear that. We're living in a time now where people get offended and upset on someone else's behalf, and hearing you say that, although you think it's cool, they're going to say that you're only saying that to mask the feelings that you actually feel very bad about it.
At the time, I did not see it as abuse. At the time, I did not realize the impact that was going to have on me for the rest of my life. But as I,
So you think?
oh
Sorry,
yes,
sorry,
it's
sorry, easy.
it's had a profound impact on my life. Because like other people, I created the wrong type of regard for sex. And that was one of the experiences that contributed to the wrong regard I had for sex. There are a number of other experiences in my life that contributed to my decision, I may have gotten into the sex industry because I got an offer from someone, but as I got older and had talks with a number of psychologists about my experiences, it became very clear to me that everything that happened to me as a child contributed to my being involved in the sex trade, and that was one of them.
So knowing that information, aren't you capitalizing on the results of people's sexual abuse when you're recruiting them, or like you're enabling the same thing? I mean, if you know that is where it stems from for a lot of people, then why would you still?
So this is an angle. I'm not enabling. I am in the sex industry, and when women come to me, albeit they may have suffered sexual abuse as a child or some traumatic experience in their life, when they come to me and ask me to work with my organization so they can upgrade their life and their lifestyle and the money they make, I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. I have no problem with that. I have no regrets. Society will look at it differently, but I'm long past the point where I take what society think under advisement. I don't really give a thought. Society have disappointed me so many years where they themselves are involved in such dirt that I know about that they can't come to me and judge me anymore.
But
I do
But
not.
that doesn't absolve you.
Right. At the
No,
end.
it doesn't. No, it doesn't. But I don't believe that I'm doing anything wrong when I am helping a young lady who wants to make more money on what she's doing and
Perpetuating
protect her
hurts.
the best I can, advise her the best I can.
Hurts and things that she has never took time to really assess herself. Which is what I think you're
Right.
getting at, Marcus.
Right. I mean,
Because of the
financially,
perpetuation of
financially she benefits, but still she's caught in a loop of trying to fill a void sexually.
Also, the age that they're probably approaching you.
When you,
Yeah.
as a manager of a company,
Right.
someone comes to you because they are failing at finding a job they are qualified to do, but they're going to take a job that's less than they're qualified to do,
Right.
and you take them on board because you're taking advantage of someone with higher qualifications, are you doing something wrong? You know that they can make more money elsewhere. Do you tell them don't come to me and go work and go keep finding that job? Right?
No, but
You know, you can't take on. You can't
there are
take
more
on.
factors to that, though, Charlie.
Yes, there are, but you can't
There are more
take
variables
on.
involved.
You can't take on all of these hypothetical scenarios. You can't.
But they're not hypothetical.
It's not
though.
hypothetical though. If we know from the
Okay, case in point. Case in point. Go on.
if we know, but from your experience with going to psychologists and just us
on
knowing
admission.
psychology, right? If we know that a lot of it stems from underlying sexual abuse when they were younger, you are in some way exploiting that. the results of that, the fact that they're trying to cope with that by
I don't agree
looking
with
at
you.
sex in a different way. You
I
just
don't-
said it. You just said that.
No, I don't agree with you because I am not a party to what happened when she was a child.
Yeah, but-
I am a party to her wanting to make money today at the most money she can make. I do not have an issue with that.
I don't think-
However, society may look at it. To be honest, I can't spend time with a society that is already disingenuous.
But that has nothing to do with what you're doing.
You know what I mean? Hang on, I look at it at this. I'm in the sex industry. This is my job. This is what I do. I can't start rationalizing all of the scenarios that society may place on me because I do my job. This is my job. This is my industry.
I don't think Marcus is saying that you have to vet every girl and be like, okay, well, did you get molested as a child?
Yeah.
To determine if you're benefiting from it. But at the end of the day, when a girl that was molested when she was 12 comes to you at 19 and says, well, all I'm doing is fucking anyway, give me a job. I don't think he's saying that you have to vet that. But at the end of the day, if that happens, whether she admits that to you or not, it's still to your benefit. Because she's let go from fully removed emotions from sex because she associates it as something negative. Because she's associating it subconsciously to that time she was abused when she was younger. But realistically, she can end up being a good worker and that's in your benefit. I don't think he's saying it's your fault. You know what I'm saying?
It's not your
Right,
fault.
no blame.
No, Marcus wants to know if I'm enabling. I'm not. What that happened 20 years ago. That happened 15 years ago, 10 years ago. But this, this is to me akin to me selling food with plastic fork and plastic thing, and I'm being blamed.
That's very good.
And I'm blamed for the ecology. For you know what I mean? I'm blamed for you know.
I get it.
Am I supposed to think that far? I am a restaurateur. You know what I mean?
Which brings me to this.
Yeah.
That was clean.
You said that if you would not advise your progeny to get into this lifestyle.
Yeah.
So I guess there needs to be some sort of separation from how you view your progeny and how you view prospective girls,
Yes.
right? How are you able to separate those thoughts? Because this prospect may be the same age as a hypothetical daughter, because you don't have a daughter. How are you able to distinguish between you know that you would not advise your child to do that, but how can you advise someone else's child to do that? How do you make that distinction?
Because I did say that if my child insisted and they were vehemently wanting to do this,
Okay.
I would then advise them,
Okay,
give
so
them
do
the
you
benefit.
coach your prospects against this thing? Do you say
That is
about
not my job. That is not my job. If they came to me and I thought that they were not ready psychologically, I would tell them, I don't think you should get involved. As a matter of fact, let me share something with you. There were times in Eastern Europe that I knew that girls were brought to me and they were victims of human trafficking, sex trafficking.
under duress?
Okay, yes. And I helped a number of those girls to be repatriated to their country, to their city or country, gave them money to go back home to their families, and I ended up not being able to go back to that part of Eastern Europe. Today, I still wouldn't go back there because the Gypsy mafia, or the Albanian mafia, will put a bullet in my head. Today, I would not go back to certain parts of Eastern Europe for that reason. So I do have
A conscience.
certain values that I will not, and boundaries that I would not cross. And how can I have gone to school in Barbados, gone to church every Sunday because my grandmother would make sure I'm there, and yet I become a male prostitute? You know, how do you do these things? You know, you have to decide. You get to a stage in life where it's all about necessity, what you got to do in life to survive. And
To add to
you do that.
what Mosey's saying, shoot, I forgot what I was saying. But I want to know if okay, I'm gonna ask everybody in here a question, right? If I am a drug dealer, right, and somebody I know is an addict, they come to me and make the personal choice to get drugs from me, and I provide them the drugs. It is their personal choice to use the drugs, and then eventually they continue their own cycle of being addicted. Am I complicit in any way or no?
I don't want to answer your question with a question, but I absolutely will answer it too. When you own a rum shop and you know someone's an alcoholic and they were to buy a product from you, would you consider yourself enabling?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you own a pharmacy and a man buys Panadols every single day, are you going to assume he's an addict and assume that you're enabling him?
Panadol different though.
Why? Cocoa the more if you're addicted, cocoa the more if you want to.
No, you could get yeah, but there's different level for different things
You
though.
get addicted to anything.
Yeah, but to different degrees and at different space of time. Like alcoholism is a thing that is happening like where it's a lot more difficult. Everything ain't the same in terms of addicted quality. So I'm saying, but I'm saying in your scenario though, anytime that somebody has prior knowledge that somebody is suffering from an illness or condition where they are addicted to something or they are trying to mask something or whatever you're about to provide for them is not good for them, you are complicit in that same issue.
When a girl, as a result of being sexually abused, becomes a prostitute, and that is now becomes her life. This is her work. This is how she makes money, how she pays her bills. What am I enabling? Maybe that I should ask you that question. What are you suggesting that I'm enabling by helping her to support her lifestyle?
Because you're helping her in one aspect. Psychologically, there are things that she has not recovered from. There are things she has not dealt with.
But she'll go to a therapist
It's not
for
his
those things.
responsibility, but I'm saying you are adding to it if you are putting her in situations where that can still be
get what you're
perpetuated.
saying. I get what you're saying from a moral standpoint, right? But at the end of the day, she doesn't go to Charlie. She can go to Bill. She can go to Tom.
Yeah, that's not an excuse to do it, though. That's not an
I
excuse.
get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. But from a
if-
business standpoint, you can take advantage of that scenario.
Right.
But there's certain things that you is not your responsibility to take into consideration, though, Marcus.
Like people's
I mean-
health? What do you mean?
Health. No. I think health is a definite responsibility.
But
I mean,
mental health is a
is
thing.
health.
Right, mental health is
in
health.
that sense.
If I thought that a woman who came to me has a mental problem, I wouldn't recruit her anyway. Because she's not an asset to my business with a mental problem anyway. If I think that she has the mental stability and she has enough consciousness to make the decision to be in my industry, then I'll work with
How
her.
do you assess that? I mean, professionally, that is not your
No, I have on many occasions
purview.
felt that women who came to me were not psychologically sound enough psychologically to be in my industry, and I have refused to work with them because that will then result in a bad experience with my client, and I don't want that.
Which makes sense.
So you only think about the client. You don't
That's my
think about the woman.
I think of both. I have to think
okay.
of both. I have to think of protecting both and making the best possible scenario for both, and that makes me a good manager by doing. by
But
thinking
you would
of
say
both.
that money comes first, though.
Not to the point where it is detrimental to the girl or the client. No.
Okay.
Because then that would be shooting myself in the foot.
There is
Ultimately.
some place I've heard it's bothering me. I don't think it was Dave Chappelle. It was another black comic that spoke about when you know how a pimp knows when it's a girl's last dealings or whatever. You don't know what I mean, Marcus?
I think it's Chris
See,
Rock. I
that's
don't
Chris
know.
Rock.
I maybe I can't remember what the premise
But this
was,
sounds
though.
similar, to be honest, though. Like, you still have a psychological evaluation. Anyone as a people's person knows someone's psyche. And I still feel like at the end of the you
That could be clouded, though.
Yeah, for sure.
But
But like,
I am I'm not a psychologist, but over the years I have acquired an understanding of women which is greater than the average man who has not dealt with so many women in such an intimate way as I have with women. And I don't mean intimate sexually. I'm talking about having to get into her head and she has to get into mine. I believe that the assessment I make is good enough for my industry and for what I want to achieve.
All right, so this scenario. Suppose you have had a booking, And yeah, I don't know if a client is required to pay in advance or something. I don't know what the actual payment structure is.
Yes, they do.
I assume as much. Suppose during the course of the booking is finalized. The the girl obviously has some change of heart and doesn't want to do the job anymore. How do you deal with a situation like that? Suppose she gets a
Women are
revelation of
allowed to
sorts.
change their minds. I normally say to women, when I get a booking, I give them as much information about the client and about the client's requirements so that they can make a determination whether they want to accept the booking or not. At that point, they can say, no, I'm not interested because what he wants is not something that I'm prepared to offer. I do not like when they accept the booking and midway they decide to change their mind, unless it's for a very good reason. Because a client could be a decent person right now, but after a few drinks, he becomes an animal.
Mm-hmm.
Or after too much cocaine, then he has an altered mind and he's not
I
safe
can
to
see
be
how
around.
that might happen.
Yes. So with good reason, a girl is allowed to call me or message me and say, look, I'm out of here. I respect that totally. And then I would reprimand the client. There are times when I have taken clients out of my network because I do not appreciate the way they treated the women.
Yeah, but there's not a financial obligation you have to the client because he's paid his money. Do you reimburse him?
Not when it comes to a scenario that is detrimental to the health or safety.
No, but I'm
of
not
the woman.
saying health or safety. I'm just saying the woman might suddenly come to a realization this is not what I want to be doing right now. How do you police that? How do you deal with that situation?
Oh, you mean like in the middle of a job?
Yeah, in the middle of a job.
Oh,
I mean, money is
okay,
paid.
okay, okay.
If
The
she
transaction
suddenly had a massive movement of her moral compass during the transaction, then fine, she's allowed to step out of that. And I would just remove her from my network. I would never book her again.
So, but then there's still a financial obligation to the client. How do you deal with that?
Clients don't worry about those things. Money is not the issue. For these clients at this level, money is not the issue. This is not a situation where you go to Nelson Street and you pay $60 and you want $70 worth of action.
I get it. Okay.
Okay, so there are two things that I have two opinions that I've kind of formulated from the whole conversation we had, right? And I want to know your thoughts on them.
Okay.
One, I think you are exploiting people's weaknesses for capital gain.
Okay.
Two, I think although you talk about how Barbados is hypocritical, I'm sensing hypocrisy in your values and what it is you do on a day-to-day basis too. And I want to know if you see do you see where I'm coming from?
I need you to break it down for me.
Well, okay, you said that you understand the dark side of the industry.
Yeah.
And you also said that it's something that you wouldn't necessarily encourage, and you wouldn't encourage it for your children, yet you would still do it. So I feel as if you although you have wisdom in the industry, you ignore that wisdom for the capital gain.
I said that if my children or any other person's children wanted to get involved, I would not encourage my children or anyone else's children to get involved.
The minute you say that,
Yes.
that means that you see that there are serious flaws in whatever it is you're doing.
In my industry, there are dangers in my industry,
Right.
but I see dangers in many other industries as well, not just my industry. I see dangers now in the bloody legal profession. Did we not have a lawyer recently that's got sent to prison for 3 or 4 years?
3 years,
So I see dangers in all industries. I would not encourage anyone to get involved in the industry, but if they decided based on their own evaluation or experiences they want to be, and I can't change them, then I would find.
But I understand where Marcus is coming from. It's very interesting to hear you say
Yeah.
you will not encourage anybody to do it. But this is what I'm going to do. It's not as simple as do what I say, not as I do, or whatever he's saying.
And you've also acknowledged how aware you are of self from going through, whether it's psychologists, etc., to find out where your reasons for changing your idea of sex stem from, for you to not use that knowledge in a different way, the way you're using it now, I don't know, it just seems very conflicting to me.
Like, is it for the money that you would rather not? Instead, because I feel
It
like
is
you
for
could.
me. This is this industry for me. This is my life. This is what I do. This is what I'm most proud of. I've done other things in other industries that I regret, and I would never want to invest my time or money in any other industry going forward. It is who I am. This is my industry. So, I hear what you're saying, and I can appreciate to some extent where you're coming from, that with my knowledge of the dark side of my industry, I should be the advocate to stop the entire sex industry. Well, that ain't gonna happen. I'm not gonna do it, and if I try to, it would never happen anyway. Right. But having appreciated where you are coming from, this is my job. This is my job. So I can only do my job to the best of my ability, being mindful of the dangers and mindful that it's my responsibility to warn people about those dangers. But as long as you are prepared to do it, it's like I remember I had an operation to remove my right thyroid gland. I sat down with the anesthetist, and he said to me, "You need to sign a document because you could end up having a stroke on the table. You could end up having this. This could happen. This could happen. You want to do it? Sign here. Okay, we got no responsibility." Now, he knows I could die. He knows I can die. He knows that when this is removed, I could be on medication for the rest of my life. But they do it anyway. Is he wrong for advising me of all the dangers and then saying, okay, let's go?
No, but if there was a better option, he would give you. But if he's doing that means...
Well, if she thought she had a better option, she would go for it.
So you're exploiting the ignorance of women.
No, they're not ignorant. They're not ignorant. They're not ignorant. No, they're not ignorant.
They're ignorant. They're ignorant to the possibility that there is something out there that does not have these dangers.
No, I tell them, no, they already know. Most people know. Most persons in society who are not even from the sex industry, they can tell you what the dangers are. Dangers are not secret. Everybody knows what dangers are. Rape, this, HIV, AIDS, other sexually transmitted infections. Everybody knows. The average person knows what the dangers are. And they know too. I might reinforce that knowledge by telling them. But once they say it, but to be honest, when I see a woman come to me and she's uncertain, I, at that point, would take the opportunity to tell her more about the dangers and say, "You sure you want to get into this?" Most often, the women who come to me are more advanced. It's like, "Charlie, I want to work with you. I'm already working. I already have clients. I don't need you. I need to top up my business." So I don't deal with women who are unaware of those dangers. No.
It's not about being unaware, but it's just if you don't have the wisdom to make a sound decision as a young person. There's some people.
If it's a young person, no. Okay, fine. If it's that young a person, I would feel an obligation to tell her about the dangers, even though she may already know. But if she is an adult and she can make a decision for herself and she wants to do it regardless, then okay. Let's go for it.
What's the average age of your women?
I don't. 18 to 25.
Right, but at the end of the day, 18. We're talking about young girls. 18 is a very young age.
Yeah, tell me about it.
The women,
I'm kidding.
The women 18 today are not the 18-year-old women when I was 18. I have to tell you that. No.
To gauge that.
No, you know that. You don't need to be in the sex industry. You can just go out and see the 14, 15, 16-year-old girls, and they know more about sex and sex trade.
A lot of them seem a little
very advanced. They're very advanced.
All right, but on another note, like, as a man that knows the dark side of the industry, right? Mm-hmm. What do you feel like? I don't know you. Besides this 2-hour conversation, like I really don't know Charlie Spice. Okay. But would you feel more fulfilled, like enabling people to, I don't want to say turn away, but even protecting the industry, kind of, like putting more measures in place to make sure they're safe if they have to do it?
This is why I started the Adult Industry Association. I don't just work for that. I launched it because I am mindful of the fact that there are many issues within the industry, and as a result, I launched the association to address the problems that exist as a result of the industry. I launched it with the intention of establishing strategic partnerships with the police, immigration departments around the world, and other authorities so that we could develop solutions and interventions to mitigate the negative impact that come to bear in the industry. So there is a moral compass, believe it or not, that Charlie Spice has. It might be hard to imagine,
think so, yeah.
but there is.
I wanted to move on from this. Okay, what have you learned about men and women over the years? Because I think your perspective about men and women in general and their behavior towards each other, men and women's interactions. What have you learned?
It's interesting.
It's broad.
That's broad.
Yeah, it's
Very
broad. It is broad.
But there are a number of things that come to mind. One, there are so many marriages out there that are a form of prostitution that is mind-boggling. The amount of women that marry men just for money, and in my opinion, they're prostitutes. There are many women who marry for the right reason, then fall out of love with a husband, but stay married because of the financial support. She's still a prostitute, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
There are many families that will tell their daughters, don't marry Tom, because he's got no money. You should marry Harry, because he's come from a wealthy family. They are pimping their daughters, but they want to call me a pimp.
That's regular though. That's a rampant thing.
Yes. There are many families out there who know that their daughters who are underage are having sex with grown-ass men. But because those men are making a financial contribution to the house, they tolerate and condone sexual activity with their underage daughter because they're putting money on the table.
You talk about that here so much.
yeah, we did.
So often.
So
Hearing you say that, it's
Yeah.
I have many years ago I stopped using society as a basis to adjust my moral compass. I have to do what enables me to look in the mirror and I can say I'm happy with who I am.
Are you a Christian?
I am a Christian, but
Are you? Or
that
do you
is
believe in-
such is
Sorry.
that is an area that I'm so confused about.
Okay.
When I grew up with preachers who were having sex with the choir girls and the teachers at the primary school next door
Right.
outside of it, I'm confused by
Right.
Christianity.
So are you a Christian or have you practiced Christianity? Because those are two different things.
I practiced it when I was young, but I'm not practicing it anymore.
Right. So
I don't practice it
right,
anymore.
Right. Cool.
So you're not religious at all?
I'm very spiritual, but do I subscribe to any one of those?
Dogmas?
I'm sorry?
The dogma.
Correct. No.
Okay. Okay.
I don't want to step back, but I wanted to answer this ever since. Real for stepping back. But back to the topic of like you're not encouraging any of your kin or your proteges to get into the sex industry. Would you, if one your sense was to be like, well, Dad, I bought a little action or whatever. would you help him join your network to find a girl or whatever if you could afford it, I guess.
Well, pimp your son?
No.
pimp
If
his
my
but
son,
help his
if my son
find-
wanted to book a girl,
Right.
Oh, okay, I get it. It's
Right.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I would.
Really?
I would. Yes, if my son wanted to book a young lady. Oh yeah, of course, absolutely.
And this is from a
will-
business standpoint or what?
business too, because my sons are making some money right now. But yeah, why not? He's a grown man.
What do your sons do?
One is in IT and one is in business management.
Oh, cool.
Yes, I would. If my son said to me, "I would like to book a girl. I'm going to Miami," why not?
I
don't-
look
I don't
at
have a
it
problem
from
with
the
it.
same dark side.
I don't have a problem with it.
Oh, here's the question I wanted to ask ever since. Why are so many people in the LGBTQ community in the sex industry?
I
You asking me?
don't know if I agree with the comment that so many people from the LGBT
Oh, I thought that's what you said
community.
earlier.
I said there are people from that community.
Oh, okay.
To show the diversity
Oh, okay.
of the equal opportunity industry that we are.
Okay. I thought you said that there were more there than.
No.
Oh, okay.
That was an interesting
No,
question.
I would never. I don't think
Process
I.
words very carefully.
That's an interesting question. I find like a lot of people that live in that life that I know, like They just study nothing but sex. It's almost like that's their entire personality.
So it doesn't matter. I mean, it's
Some of them, like I know a lot of them that are just regular people, but some of them feel like that is their identity.
okay.
So I find it interesting to ask that question.
Do you look down on men that do gay for pay?
No. When I left Barbados many years ago for the first time when I emigrated, I was homophobic because
As a Asian in that time.
this is how I was cultured. And I remember whenever I was too close to a gay person, a man, I would get goosebumps. I would have to move away. Don't come near me. You know, you're gay. And when I got to Los Angeles and I realized the world is for everyone.
Yeah.
You know, that went out my system in a hurry. I've got some amazing friends who are gay. I'm the last person to be judgmental about anyone and their sexual preference or their lifestyle preference.
you look
I'm the
like a
last
girl.
person. I'm sorry.
Which is
So-
interesting though, if I can. You've hinted on it before, Barbados has been a very closed society, a very hypocritical society, you said. How does one make the transition from a culture that is as stringent as this about sexuality and many other things? How does one make that transition into this kind of liberal mindset that I would label where you are right now? I mean, Barbadians quibble about the Gap clubs in the Gap open up for too long.
Right.
I mean, that was a thing. That was public debate at one point that the clubs in the Gap were open for too long, right? This is a society that you are from and that has nurtured you from infancy. How do you make the transition into where you are right now?
It wasn't difficult because I was outside of Barbados when that transition took place. And it only requires you to live outside in the wider world to be able to have a different perspective on life. And to realize how small-minded we are and how insular we are here in Barbados. And to understand that the possibilities are infinite out there. And whatever your belief system is, whatever you want to do in life, you can go for it. It wasn't difficult for me because I was outside of Barbados. I find it very difficult now that I've returned to Barbados after all those years, trying to fit back into this very hypocritical society where I am judged everywhere I turn. It's even impossible. I found it impossible even to have a personal relationship with a woman from Barbados because she's worried about me. First of all, I have to justify that I'm not trying to recruit her as a prostitute. That's first.
That's funny.
Okay? And then I have to justify the people who know her that I'm not trying to recruit your friend as a prostitute. I'm not trying to recruit your daughter as a prostitute. And then she's then got to justify why she's with me because I'm Charlie Spice. It's just too much. So this has changed the complexity of my life in so many ways. It is very difficult being Charlie Spice in Barbados.
Does it hurt?
Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely, yes. When people look at me with a stereotypical perspective, it can be upsetting, of course. It is at a point where I could not even walk into a bank and borrow money because the bank manager might wonder if other people think he owes me a favor or she owes me a favor. Oh, it's very difficult fitting into a society like this, because I'm so open. There are people who would see this interview right now and be upset that I am just by the fact that I'm able to articulate my perspective in my existence in this life as Charlie Spice. They get upset at that. So it's not easy. It isn't. I can't quit my industry and go get a job with an insurance company tomorrow.
Would you do it again if you had the opportunity?
Yes, but I'll do it better with the experience that I now have. Oh yeah, absolutely. Given the people ask me that all the time. If I die and came back, would I go back in the industry? Absolutely, but I'll do it a lot better the next time around.
Forgive me.
I make a lot more money too.
Forgive me if it's maybe too personal, but the family dynamic. Are you concerned at all about your reputation and how your family perceives you? Have you lost family over this?
Some of my family members did not speak to me for years when they found out I was in the sex industry.
Do you consider yourself a success?
In many ways. I do not make at the moment as much money as I made before because I've made many adjustments in my life coming back here. And of course, my father passed, my mom's passed, and I inherited many obligations and so forth. So my life in the industry is a bit marginalized at the moment. But come December, I'm going to get back in the industry full time, as it was before. And I reached the pinnacle of my tenure in the industry when I was in Berlin, Germany. That's when I was making some serious money, and then in Eastern Europe as well too. So there are times when I made an absolute fortune in the business, and there are times when I lost an absolute fortune because of circumstances like,
Mafia.
tax issues, mafia, and having to walk away from money as well too. Because I left Eastern Europe at 5 o'clock one morning to go to the airport after I paid to get my passport back. I literally became a victim of human trafficking when the mafia held on to my passport with no intention of giving it back to me, under the pretense that they were going to get me naturalized with a stamp, but never intended to give it back to me. I was making too much money for them. We would turn over $300,000-$400,000 on a good weekend.
Can you talk about human trafficking in Barbados? Like, what do you know about it? Is it
Human
bad?
trafficking in Barbados is nothing like it is in other countries. It is the extent to which I know human trafficking exists here is where some persons may bring ladies into Barbados and, as a security measure, withhold their passports until they get monies repaid that they put out for the tickets and so on.
Right.
Be cool.
But we don't have people being brought here in containers.
But I heard that
We
we're not
don't-
a destination, that we are a pass-through country.
I hear
Is that true?
I don't know if it's true.
From what you know?
I have not heard much about that.
Oh,
And
okay.
I have my finger on the pulse in the industry.
Right.
And you see, money is all about money. Many of the human trafficking organizations exist on grant funding. And as long as they can justify that the numbers are high, they will keep getting that grant funding. If they were to say that the number of people trafficked in a particular domicile has gone down or doesn't exist, they don't get funding anymore. So these numbers are all fabricated to ensure that people keep getting the grant funding. It's a racket going on out there. let me tell
Who's
you.
granting the funding?
The EU and other organizations, USAID, EU, the United Nations. Funding comes from many sources.
What do you mean? Wait.
Oh, no. I understand what you're saying.
I don't.
No, the governments, you're saying that.
Governments, yes, provide funding for non-governmental organizations,
Right, I get it.
non-profit organizations,
I get it.
to develop initiatives to
yeah,
fight
yeah.
human
That's-
trafficking.
I thought it was.
So they're the
Traffickers
ones.
are getting
I
funding.
was beat.
Yeah. So they're the ones that would do these surveys and come. We've got
okay.
20,000 people here being trafficked
So the numbers
into
are
Barbados
inflated, right.
because that is what supports that funding.
The numbers are inflated.
They can't be honest and say that there's just 5 people a year.
Right.
So they're enabling,
Right.
to get that money. So anyway, but Barbados is not a major,
Okay.
a major port for trafficking.
I had basically 2 more questions, and then I guess we done. Here, okay. So you said in an interview, right, that when women in the industry, when a woman is in the industry, she becomes disillusioned by relationships, and she would always have one foot in the industry and one foot out. Right? You then you said that you can take a tiger out of the jungle, but the desire to prowl is always there. Does that also apply to promiscuous women not in the industry? Because sometimes I wonder if what we call the whole phase is really just a phase for everyone, or if some people's wandering eye is actually a personality trait.
Wow.
Profound.
Wow.
Profound.
That is profound, comprehensive, complex. Women in general, whether they are in the industry or not, are disillusioned with relationships. Many women are very unhappy with the experience they have within relationships today. And I've found that not just with prostitutes, but women in general. As a matter of fact, that's one of the reasons why many women turn to the industry, because they end up saying to me, well, these men have been fucking me all my life and I get nothing from it, I might as well charge them. And you know what I mean? Oh, I've heard that many times. Many times. And prostitutes, having worked with husbands to provide sexual favors commercially, how can you then go and marry a man when you deal with men who are so dishonest with their wives? Of course you're going to be disillusioned. You're never going to accept marriage as something that's the holy sanctity anymore.
Yeah.
And this is not just with the sex industry. It is also with mainstream relationships.
Do you trust women?
No.
Okay. Just wondering. I guess we're pretty much.
Do I allow myself now in my life? Before, I would never trust a woman. I didn't believe in relationships, and that is what really helped me in my industry to be successful in my industry. Because I'm dealing with women who come to me to acquire a higher skill set to trick men to make money. I spend all my days teaching women how to trick men to make money.
Right.
To get over on men. How can I trust them? But I've come to realize as I've gotten older that I shouldn't judge every woman
Same
like that.
Right.
It's best for me to, if I meet a woman, to try not to bring my experiences in the sex industry. It's very difficult, but not to judge them and give them the benefit of the doubt, because there are good women out there.
There are.
And there are good marriages out there. And
You're right.
So
Yeah, both of them.
yes.
Yeah. And finally, if you were to pimp me and Kofi, how much would you value us at? Like, how much do we cost?
No, I don't actually don't want to know. I don't want to know. I'm gonna quit.
Like, how much would you like? What's the estimate? Give us a range. How much?
Without having in-depth conversation with both of you,
Yeah.
and individual as well, because you may decide to do it, but you may not want Kofi to know you're doing it.
Right, exactly.
I can tell you that men in Barbados who charge, and I book some of them from time to time, about $250 to $300
For what?
for an hour.
Oh! Wait, man.
$250.
Yeah, I just booked a guy whose husband wanted a black man to satisfy his.
Don't just say words.
Nah.
You said that you just booked. You said
I just got a booking from
A man?
from a man
Right.
who wanted his wife to have an
Oh.
experience with a local guy.
No, it's...
But still, I still am in the dark. Can you say that again? You got a.
So this lady's husband wanted his wife
Yeah.
to have sex with a Belgian man.
Well, he does this on a regular basis because
So he's a cuck.
he's not able to sexually satisfy his wife.
Right, so
Oh.
that
he's a
changes
cuck.
things.
Alright, cool.
Oh, okay.
So, and that guy made about $500 for 2 hours of his time.
Crazy. Oh crap! You know, I just remembered. And Lizzie, last question. Sorry, I gotta run through questions because we was doing this long.
Yeah.
You see the video with like the woman having sex with the dog? Is that a thing? Well, you know what that? You was behind the camera. Were you behind that?
I was not involved in that.
It's not a
You know,
I'm not involved in that.
You know,
I don't know the people
She's
involved
not Shorty
either.
Spice Angel.
No.
Do you know anything about that being part of the industry?
No, the dog doesn't work for me. No, the sheep.
Okay, I was just curious.
I was.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. If you don't want to answer, that's fine. But what's the percentage you make on each
Transaction.
transaction?
It varies depending on the situation. If it's in certain scenarios, I charge a 30% commission for the
Okay.
referral. In other scenarios, I negotiate a net rate with a girl where I say, okay, look, the client wants this, that, and that what is, and I negotiate a rate with her, and then I do a markup on
Yeah,
top.
okay.
Because my fee to the client is not just for the girl, it's also for the entire thing. So the total package might be $10,000 US. So he doesn't know what he's paying for any part of that. He just knows it's $10,000.
That's the fee.
That's the total
That's what
fee,
you're told.
but that includes A, B, C, D, E. So there are times when I charge a straight 30%,
Oh,
and
okay.
there are times when I do a markup by negotiating with her a net rate and then do a markup.
You feel the need to be armed, Charlie?
No, not at the level I operate.
Oh, sir, not gun man.
Not at that level.
If she on she period, how much she commission is?
If she's on her period,
This is just waste question.
I'm being a total jackass right now.
women have techniques to operate.
Oh, you mean
while on
like
the,
pregnancy? Oh,
while
okay.
they're
Okay,
having
make
their
a sponge.
period, yes. So they have the sponge technique, etc.
But anyway, that was just me being stupid.
That's okay.
Charlie, thanks for coming through.
Yeah, for real.
This
Thanks
is
for
fun.
sharing. Thanks for being willing to be challenged. Right? I enjoyed every minute of this. I think that it's sign that people. I think it's just sign people need to know. This is the thing. The beauty of this podcast is the fact that regardless if it's something that you like or don't like, the truth is there are certain things that exist.
That's
And
right.
they need to be
spoken about.
need to be spoken about, and they need to. It's just so you understand the world around you, whatever your opinion is, and we would respect it, and we respect
want
your
to-
opinion and your stance.
I
and-
want to thank you all very much for having me on your podcast.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it,
Yeah.
and I hope that my information is going to be well received by your audience.
You can get about 400 calls, Nobi.
That being said, INO podcast, we out.
Thanks for watching the I Know podcast, information, knowledge, and observation.
Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. You can find us on Facebook or Instagram at INO Podcast. We'll see you soon.